wide eyes going, how the heck are we ever going to survive this?
But today, she says,
to look at it now and to see how beautiful it is and how much safer it is. You see people biking around. The infrastructure needed to be fixed, and it got fixed, and it's beautiful.
Now that the work is done, city leaders are focusing on getting people back to the area and helping these local businesses. As part of that, they planned an event on October 4th where all local bars and restaurants will have live music. They're hoping that'll put some more money in their registers and get people to see all the improvements made by this project. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The Salt Lake City Council will take another look at the proposal that would crack down on after-hours drinking, but for now, the decision has been pushed back. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The proposal got some major attention, even prompting a petition that has more than 9,000 signatures. The proposal would ban drinking in non-residential spaces from the hours of 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. State law says alcohol sales are already cut off at 1 a.m., but this proposal would ban people renting out private businesses or venues from drinking alcohol purchased before that cutoff time.
City Council was supposed to vote on the ban next month, but has since confirmed to KSL they will be pushing it back. The new proposals for how to split up Utah's congressional districts are out and available for public comment. They've been talking about the redistricting proposals this week at Utah's Capitol Hill after a judge tossed out the old congressional map earlier this year, saying the legislature didn't have the right to ignore the map suggested by a voter-approved independent commission and draw their own. Representative Candace Perucci tells Inside Sources the 6 maps that are on the table will have to be voted on as they are.
The map that we vote on in special session has to have been public for 10 days. So if you were to make a tweak, you'd have to go and do another 10 days. But because we're running up against an election deadline with our elections offices for the 2026 election cycle, that's not an option.
The special session will take place on October 6th, and the public has until then to leave their feedback. The map proposals are available on our website, kslnewsradio.com. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. Congress only has about 6 days to agree to a budget and avoid a government shutdown. At the White House today, while sitting down with Turkish President Erdogan, the president blamed Democrats and repeated a false claim about Democrats and immigration.
Well, this is all caused by the Democrats. They asked us to do something that's totally unreasonable. They never change. They want to give money away to illegals.
President Trump canceled a scheduled meeting with Democratic lawmakers this week. Democrats say they will not approve a stopgap measure until some guarantees for health care are included. President Trump is scheduled to sign a deal that would keep TikTok from being banned in the U.S. According to the new agreement, the family that oversees the Fox Corporation, Michael Dell, and the Ellison family are said to be involved. More from ABC's Mary Bruce.
TikTok's U.S. operations will now be run by this new joint venture, with American users' data stored in the U.S. and overseen by the cloud computing firm Oracle. And perhaps most importantly, this new ownership group will get a copy of the algorithm, that secret sauce that makes TikTok so addictive. Trump says other American investors, including Michael Dell of Dell Technologies and the Murdoch family, will also play a role.
A bipartisan law was passed by Congress and signed by then-President Biden last year that would ban the social media platform unless U.S. stakeholders bought it from Chinese company ByteDance. The Palestinian president says the people in Gaza want peace. President Mahmoud Abbas outlined a multi-pronged plan to the United Nations that he says could reestablish normal relations between the Israelis and Palestinians if Israel is ready to stop fighting. Abbas also said Hamas will not have any role in a Palestinian government.
We have affirmed and we will continue to affirm that the Gaza Strip is an integral part of the state of Palestine and that we are ready to bear full responsibility for governance and security there. Hamas will not have a role to play in governance.
Abbas told delegates about the dire situation in Gaza, but also said that the bloodshed committed by Hamas against Israel was wrong. Governor Spencer Cox is saying the Olympics are exactly what Utah needs to show the world who the state really is. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
During a quarterly meeting for the 2034 Olympics, Deseret News reports Governor Cox encouraged the committee, saying it's been a hard couple of weeks for Utah, but he has faith the Olympics will be the greatest one yet. Cox says nationally many people might not know a lot about the state, but they do know Utah as an Olympic host and have positive feelings from that. He says the state might be feeling a little bruised but not broken, and by 2034, organizers will show the world how to do the Olympics right. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Time now for First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Len Thomas.
Well, good afternoon, Maria. As we look at a couple of things down there, there's a crash in South Salt Lake just north of I-15 on 33rd South affecting all directions. That's right near a 7-Eleven. On Redwood Road, that crash has been there since the morning. Still has traffic bogged up at Camp Williams Avenue in Bluffdale. And a crash southbound State at 400 South has a right lane closed there. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can easily find the right home insurance for you, even if it's not with Progressive. But if you don't choose us, then sure, okay, it's not going to work out. We're not going to cry about it or stay awake wondering what our future together would have looked like. We can't get emotionally invested even if it sounds like we are. Progressive's Home Quote Explorer allows you to easily compare home insurance rates and coverages in one place, even if it's not with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. I love you. I shouldn't have said that.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/fax. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, Salt Lake City leaders and business owners are celebrating the end of a years-long construction project in Sugar House. Construction on 2100 South has finally wrapped up. KSL News Time, 12:08. Juan Diego High School has been placed on probation for recruiting international students for their basketball program. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
Juan Diego High is facing a variety of penalties, including a $1,500 fine, a coach suspension for 4 games, and an institutional probation for 2 years. And Utah High School Activities Association Assistant Director Jeff Clough says this isn't the only school they've had to look into.
This year we've had 4 undue influence hearings. This was the 4th one. In other years, it's around the same number. It just seems like we've had quite a few to start off the school year.
Undue influence often looks like phone calls, texts, and other contact with student athletes before they leave their current school. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Utah State University officially welcomed their new athletic director to Logan.
Could not be more excited about this opportunity. We're excited to be Aggies and to take Utah State athletics to new heights. But it will take all of us that touch athletics. Your work is greatly appreciated, and I look forward to working together with you.
Cameron Walker was working for the University of Tennessee before joining Utah State. He's originally from Rexburg, Idaho, and has worked at UVU and UCF. West Jordan High School will be undergoing a full remodel. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has more.
The Jordan School District is launching a massive remodel of West Jordan High School, a 44-year-old building long overdue for modernization. Superintendent Dr. Anthony Godfrey says this isn't just construction, it's a process students will experience firsthand.
Although it may be a little bit disruptive, students also get to be a part of it and they get to see it unfold. And I think there's a lot of pride that goes along with that.
Portable classrooms are in place to keep learning on track as crews rotate through gyms, performing arts areas, and classrooms over the next 4 summers. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Utah Jazz will honor late head coach Frank Layden this season with a commemorative patch on their jerseys. Jazz fans will see it in action for the first time in a preseason game against Houston October 8th. Layden was the team's first GM when it came to Salt Lake City in the late 70s, then coached the team through most of the 80s. He passed away this summer at the age of 93. Traffic and weather. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Let's check in with Len Thomas.
Well, Maria, this crash that is on 33rd South. Now, this is just north of I-15 at the intersection at 3rd West there, it looks like, and they've got traffic diverted there. Slowly getting through on 33rd South, but a lot of traffic being diverted onto 3rd West heading southbound. Otherwise, we're looking at that Camp Williams crash. Actually, it's a Redwood Road at Camp Williams. That's getting mostly cleared. There's still a couple of squad cars in the middle of the road, but mostly cleared up at this point. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Health care with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, calling for sunshine today with a high of 85. Meanwhile, southern Utah picks up on some thunderstorms. 63 overnight tonight. Some of the clouds from those thunderstorms keep us mostly cloudy in northern Utah on your Friday morning. Friday afternoon, partly cloudy, high of 82. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City and 76 degrees. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos. We're hearing more from the Alpine School District about how they are dealing with the death of a student on a field trip. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. Sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Welcome to fall in Cedar City and Bryan Head, Utah, the perfect place to stay for scenic drives, colorful leaves, and cool mountain air. Experience Cedar Breaks and Zion National Park at their best. And while you're in town, catch one of our festivals to enjoy some small town charm. Pick out your favorite flannel and don't forget the pumpkin spice because Cedar City is waiting for you. We've got something for everybody, so check out visitcedarcity.com to plan your next trip.
J&J Garden Center is your fall headquarters. Now through November 1st, save 20% on perennials, shrubs, containerized trees, soils, fountains, and more. You'll also find clearance trees up to 50% off. Fall is the perfect time to plant pansies, mums, and fall bulbs. Don't forget pumpkins, gourds, strawbills, and corn stalks. Plus, explore our gift shop for cozy fall decor, tools, and seasonal finds. Hurry and visit us in Layton today, and let's get your garden fall ready. J&J Garden Center, where fall begins.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the 2100 South construction project in Sugar House is now finally done after 2 years of work and a lot of resilience from local businesses. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, the proposals for new congressional maps are now available online and open for public comment until the legislature votes on it on October 6th. Third, traffic and weather together, Len.
This crash, South Salt Lake, just north of I-15 on 33rd South, affecting all directions. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Another day of sunny skies and highs in the mid-80s. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny, 75 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. After calling for the ouster of the former top prosecutor for the Eastern District of Virginia, President Trump's hand-picked replacement, Lindsay Halligan, is expected to call on a grand jury to seek an indictment against former FBI Director James Comey based on possible false testimony given to Congress in 2020. ABC's Mary Bruce has more on efforts to go after political opponents.
The president has been demanding federal prosecutors use the criminal justice system to go after his political opponents, including New York Attorney General Letitia James, Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, and former National Security Advisor John Bolton, whose home and office the FBI searched last month related to allegations he possessed classified documents.
President Trump hosting Turkey's leader today at the White House. Before holding talks, the president was speaking about efforts to end the war in Gaza.
The president said he felt that they're getting close and that they could have some announcements soon. That echoes what we heard from the president's Mideast envoy this week, Steve Witkoff, who said that he was very hopeful that they're getting close to a breakthrough. The president said he'd be discussing that with Turkey's president today during these hours of conversation that they're expected to have. But beyond saying he was optimistic and the meeting went well, the president himself did not give details about what this plan was offered from the administration.
ABC's Karen Travers. Israeli forces continuing their military push into Gaza to defeat Hamas. Israel's prime minister will address the UN General Assembly tomorrow. Today, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas delivered remarks remotely, criticizing Israel's destructive attacks in Gaza. Speaking through a translator, Abbas also condemned Hamas and the October 7th attacks and says Palestinians want to be free.
We will not leave our homeland. We will not leave our lands. Our people will remain rooted like the olive trees, firm as the rocks.
On Wall Street, stocks are trading lower. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. Officials are now confirming the death of a Canyon View junior high school student while on a field trip was a suicide. Rob Smith, superintendent of Alpine District, told Inside Sources it's been a tough time for the community.
Yesterday was one of the most difficult days for our team. Obviously a tragedy when a student dies by suicide and other students are present and faculty. It just has been just a difficult time for all of us. And I think visiting with the family last night and visiting with some of our team, there are things that we can do and we should do as a community to improve connections, to stay focused on supports, and to do things that will enhance or improve our safety both at school and within the community.
Smith said they had talks about whether or not they should close the school in response, but ultimately they decided to keep the doors open.
So we reviewed that as a team and debriefed and talked about how we need to be there for each other. And where we landed was we need to hold school both today and tomorrow. We need to affirm those commitments and connections one to another, and we need to be about our role in supporting parents and these students in their learning. And so as we talked about all of those things, the decision was, yes, we need to be there for each other.
There are counselors and mental health resources available today at Canyon View to support the students and staff in need. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Lynn Thomas.
Well, this crash at 33rd South and 3rd West is just north of I-15 now. Traffic is being controlled by traffic officers. There's 2 officers in the intersection, so use caution as you go through there as the lights are affected by this crash in South Salt Lake. The 9th annual My Gluten-Free World Expo is being held September 26th and 27th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Come see over 100 vendors showcasing the best of gluten-free. I'm Len Thomas, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, 85 today, sunshine. Tomorrow's going to go to 82, partly cloudy, maybe even a mountain showers possible. 82 on Saturday, partly cloudy skies, mountain showers. Now headed into Sunday, I've given it a 30% chance for a shower, mostly cloudy, high of 78. 77, breezy, chance for rain, scattered showers on Monday. We go scattered showers again on Tuesday, 76, down to 71 on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City and 75 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Looks like another down day for the markets. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Amanda, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA weight loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA weight loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Hey, nice truck. And wow, what's that on the back?
Oh, that's my new truck bed cover from Jordan Camper. It's Mondo durable and dent resistant.
Oh, really?
And it looks ultra cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Come to Jordan Camper at 7000 South State in Midvale and see our truck tops designed to look great and many choices to fit your needs. With over 200 variations to choose from, create the perfect top to fit your truck's work requirements. Rugged and durable, featuring heavy-duty side doors. Also, ask about our ladder racks and tonneau covers that are adjustable for all sizes of pickups.
Jordan Camper, family owned and operated for over 100 years. Being the industry leaders in our field, we have the expertise needed to solve any problem you might have. Located on 70th South State Street in Midvale, Utah. Call us at 801-255-1512 or find us on the web at jordancamper.com.
Hi, Utah families. We all would do anything we could to boost our children's confidence and set them up for success. And Smile Zemi can help. Smile Zemi is the personalized learning tablet designed for students from kindergarten through 5th grade. Smile Zemi adapts to your child's level and learning style, delivering engaging lessons anytime, anywhere. Each lesson offers just right challenges, not too easy, not too hard, keeping learning fresh, motivating, and confidence building. Visit smilezemi.com to learn more.
KSL News Time 1224. The Federal Trade Commission is leveling the largest fine in its history against a major tech company.
Amazon is being fined $2.5 billion over how it handles sign-ups and cancellations of its Prime subscription service. $1.5 billion will go towards Amazon customers who, the FTC says, were tricked into enrolling in Prime. The online retailer will also pay $1 billion in civil penalties, the largest fine in FTC history. Amazon has admitted no wrongdoing. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Watching Utah's Money, a new poll finds Americans are taking advantage of streaming services and opting to see recently released movies from home instead of going to a movie theater. The AP NORC Center for Public Affairs Research poll found that about 3/4 of U.S. adults say that they watched a new movie on streaming instead of in the theater at least once in the past year. Americans are cutting back on alcohol. A Gallup survey found 54% of U.S. adults say they drink, which is a record low. 1/3 of consumers are also looking to spend less on alcohol over the next few months. Chick-fil-A is branching out and launching a new beverage-focused line of stores. USA Today reports it's called Daylight and will have specialty coffees, smoothies, cold-pressed juices, and more. It's the latest fast food giant to try and get into that drink space. McDonald's tried back in 2023 at all of their locations, but that closed earlier this year. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 210 points, about 0.5%, sitting at 45,910. S&P down by 43. The Nasdaq down by 164 points. A couple of new reports suggest the economy may be improving.
The Commerce Department says gross domestic product posted a gain of 3.8% in the second quarter. The Bureau of Economic Analysis attributed that 0.5% rise to stronger consumer spending. Meanwhile, orders for durable goods, items like computers and appliances, rose last month by nearly 3% compared to July.
That is ABC's Jim Ryan.
You worked hard for your 401k, but if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
How does a soccer club born in an unlikely place,
Utah? You sure you want to do that in Utah?
built with players no one else wanted,
We knew no one believed in us.
reach the league's highest heights?
We finally did it. It was like just this feeling of getting to the top of the mountain.
How does that same team find a way to shatter expectations in the midst of a fight for its own survival?
Our club is burning to the ground as we speak.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and in a new podcast, Making of a Moment, the RSL story, we take a closer look at one of those iconic sports moments
Soccer is a crazy game, and we saw it firsthand tonight.
and unravel how knowing the truth of these moments can transform what they mean.
I just kind of got chills right now thinking about it.
Making of a Moment, the RSL story, is available now. Follow us at makingamomentpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Jeff Kaplan. When you're online, that's sometimes a source of fourth-hand information. Somebody does the reporting. Another website Googles, they find it, they rewrite it, and by the time you read it, you know the old game telephone. But KSL is a source of primary information. We have reporters on the street. They're out in the field finding out the details. And the difference between online and KSL News Radio, night and day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. What's happening on the roads, Len?
Well, Maria, in South Salt Lake, just north of I-15 on 33rd South and 3rd West, watch for officers directing traffic in all directions here as the lights are out while crews work on fixing that. Also, watch for orange cones that are restricting 3rd West just south of the intersection. And that crash southbound State Street at 4th South, that does have a right lane still closed to traffic getting by. The Serenoni warehouse sale, Saturday, September 27th, 11 to 6 at the Utah Military Academy in Lehigh. Save big on luxury blankets for babies, adults, and everyone in between. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
More awesome autumn weather today, high of 85 and sunny skies. Overnight, 63, will go mostly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 82. Keep it in the low 80s, partly cloudy on Saturday. Not bad at all. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
77 degrees downtown. In Provo, 74. St. George is at 85. And Logan at this hour, 69.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 12:30. KSL's top story this half hour. What started as a protest in downtown Salt Lake City in June ended in violence, and now a man could face robbery and assault charges. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is live with details. Eric?
Maria, police documents say investigators reviewed video and drone footage from the Ice Out protest near 4th South and State back in June. They say 22-year-old Lander Gomez is seen pulling an American flag from a man and stomping on it while others punched and chased two people through the crowd. One victim told police she was hit with a skateboard and attacked after someone yelled that she didn't belong there because she was white. Others had cuts and bruises, and the documents say about 20 people were part of the fight. Gomez was arrested and booked into Salt Lake County Jail. Court records show he's due back in court later this month. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Utah County Sheriff's Office is now calling the death of a student on a field trip yesterday a suicide. Mental health experts are on hand to offer their support to the Canyon View Junior High students who witnessed it. Dr. Kim Jones, Director of Student Support Services with Alpine School District, told Inside Sources.
We have a highly trained crisis team of responders at the district level and also at the school level, and we just get those communication pieces going very quickly.
Dr. Jones also said she wants students to feel safe when they are at school. She's encouraging parents to talk to students about grief and to have an open dialogue. KSL's top national stories. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News that 29-year-old Joshua Yan, who died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, was the suspect who shot outside an ICE facility in Dallas. A detainee was shot and killed. Two others are in critical condition. The FBI director says the gunman left behind a note saying that he hoped the attack would give ICE agents real terror. More from ABC's Luke Barr.
The Department of Homeland Security makes the point that there was and continues to be 1,000% increase in threats against ICE agents. The acting ICE director said yesterday that this is only getting worse. They're only seeing more threats. And this shooting, he said, is evidence that these threats online can translate into the real world.
The shooting has left ICE facilities on high alert. Charges have officially been filed against the man accused of hauling two teenage girls in a refrigerated semi-trailer. Jacob Scott is facing 2 counts of aggravated child abuse. The girls were identified as his half-sisters. Troopers found the girls after the truck was involved in a multi-car crash on I-15 in Linden. Scott is scheduled to make his first court appearance on October 1st. A judge is siding with a motorcyclist who allegedly shot someone in a Cedar City road rage case last summer. Jason Brian Stolworthy claimed self-defense after court documents say another driver punched him. Prosecutors then say Stolworthy shot him. Ultimately, the judge found Stolworthy's use of deadly force was justified. KSL legal analyst Greg Skorda says this case is unusual.
Usually when you consider someone's use of deadly force, in this case use of a firearm, you have to establish that they perceived that the other person was going to use deadly force against them.
The judge dismissed several charges against Stolworthy. Prosecutors tell Cedar City News they are considering appealing the judge's ruling. Mayors across the Utah Valley are calling for peace and unity in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk shooting. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has more.
A statement released from a group comprised of more than 20 mayors encourages Utahns to come together in this difficult and strange time, setting partisanship aside and focusing on what we have in common. It lists 4 values the mayors hope the community will consider as it takes the time to heal: freedom of expression, civility and compassion, community bonds, and accountability. The mayors say they will not let the recent tragedy allow the Utah Valley to shrink from its values. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Other national stories KSL is following this hour. California Governor Gavin Newsom says Democrats are failing to connect with young men in the same way Charlie Kirk did for Republicans. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
On stage at the Clinton Global Initiative Conference in New York, California Governor Gavin Newsom said Democrats have lost a critical voting bloc that once helped elect Clinton in the 1990s. Newsom saying it's hard for members of his own party to admit Democrats are avoiding the issue of the crisis of men and boys in the form of suicide rates and dropout rates.
Charlie Kirk's ability, what he was able to achieve in terms of organizing the campuses, he was able to produce and organize around that in a deeply meaningful way. And the Democratic Party was nowhere to be found on the issue.
Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A new event at FanX Salt Lake this year is concentrating on mental health. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
It's called Nerd HQ and was founded by actor Zachary Levi, who stars in Shazam and Chuck. Founder of FanX Comic Convention, Dan Farr, explains why this 3-day event is so important to Levi.
He started up Nerd HQ to help with mental health, and that's something that he struggled with personally.
Farr says the Thursday night karaoke event will have other celebrities joining in, with all the money raised going to mental health. Farr says Nerd HQ is taking over FanX each evening with different ways for fans to participate, ending with a Nerd Dance Party Blowout. Levi's nonprofit provides free mental health to those who need it. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic, here's Len Thomas.
Looking at a little bit of slow traffic on Highway 89 in South Weber as you make your way north of there towards South Ogden. Otherwise, still that intersection 33rd South, just north of I-15 at 3rd West, is being controlled by officers as they direct traffic as those lights are out there. Len Thomas, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
At Peach Windows and Doors, they help homeowners stay in the homes they love while upgrading to the elegance, efficiency, and natural light of today. With hundreds of 5-star Google reviews, their clients know Peach Windows and Doors deliver what they promise.
I wanted to replace standard-size French doors with a large custom sliding door. The update required checking a weight-bearing wall. Plus, I wanted a couple of different styles of windows. The new sliding door created a much brighter and open look. Peach was so helpful along the way with recommendations and ideas, and the installers were efficient and respectful of my space. I was thrilled with Peach Windows and Doors.
Give your $1 million home the $1 million feel it deserves. Don't wait on that someday project. Visit Peach Windows and Doors Salt Lake Showroom. Schedule a free in-home visit. You can also explore at peachwindowsanddoors.com or just call them at 801-566-1255. Peach Windows and Doors, where amazing home transformations begin.
The Garden Restaurant has been open for a few months, and if you haven't stopped by, now is the time to get downtown and check out what everyone's been raving about. And if you have visited the new space, schedule a time to come on back. Grab a friend and come visit one of Salt Lake's best gathering spots for lunch. You'll be greeted by the delicious smell of fresh baked goods like our famous Lionhouse rolls, perfect for taking home for family dinners. Or maybe you have a sweet tooth and are craving one of our brand new cinnamon rolls. They're the size of a dinner plate and perfect for sharing between a group of friends. Come smell and taste the garden for yourself. Enjoy the beautifully reimagined space and convenient location with new street access on the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building. Open weekdays 11 to 3. Choose from healthy and delicious options like the turkey pot pie, jalapeno pork and grilled cheese sandwiches, tomato bisque soup, and nut and berry salad. All favorites not to be missed. So much to choose from. Check out the menu at thegardenslc.com. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story. Officials have now confirmed the 9th grader that died on a field trip yesterday died by suicide. Alpine School District says they will have mental resources for the Canyon View Junior High students and staff who may be struggling because of it. KSL News Time, 12:38. Breaking news, the Leonardo Museum in Salt Lake City is closing its doors permanently. They sent out an email saying that this difficult decision follows years-long challenges with their 61-year-old building, including issues with the escalators, elevators, and plumbing that just couldn't be overcome. Cache County School District and several nearby cities have had their proposed property tax hikes denied.
The Cache County School District, as well as the cities of Hyde Park, River Heights, and Wellsville, were all looking to increase property taxes, but the Utah State Tax Commission denied their efforts due to what they claim was failure to meet the truth in taxation law's requirements for public notices and transparency. Cache Valley Daily reports the loss of this tax hike will cost the school district more than $6 million. The Tax Commission says other school districts and cities have also been having issues getting tax increases approved due to the new requirements in the law. They are now asking lawmakers to make changes so this doesn't keep happening. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Utah State Auditor has released findings in a case against an Iron County employee accused of stealing $160,000 in cash. Auditor Tina Cannon says they were tipped off by a whistleblower and the theft happened over the span of 7 years.
The same employee who was recording how much money came in a spreadsheet was also the one making the deposits. So it's not hard to not record it on the spreadsheet and then not deposit it.
Chelsea Boxwell is now facing theft charges. She was the Iron County office manager. Kennan says there should always be at least 2 people overseeing the finances when it comes to public funds. Governor Spencer Cox is making a big promise to restore the Great Salt Lake by the time Utah hosts the Winter Olympics in 2034.
Governor Cox has signed the Great Salt Lake 2034 Charter, a massive investment in the future of the Great Salt Lake.
We will not let the Great Salt Lake fail. Period.
Standing on the shores of the lake yesterday, Cox announced a $200 million investment towards this goal. $100 million comes from the Great Salt Lake Rising, led by Senator Mitt Romney's son, Josh Romney. The other $100 million from Ducks Unlimited.
It's going to take us a while to get out of this, but we can do it working together.
Governor Cox says there are already efforts underway to support the lake, and this new funding will supplement that and lead to additional projects. Claire Scott, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turned everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Len Thomas.
They'll still have that intersection of 33rd South and 3rd West being jammed up as officers are controlling the traffic directions there as they're working on getting those lights back together. Also, of course, up there in Roy, I-15 under construction. That's slowing things down up there as you make your way this afternoon. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Normal high is now in the upper 70s. We'll go for a high of 85, so a solid 4 to 6 degrees above normal with sunny skies. 63 overnight, mostly cloudy. 82 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. We'll keep it in the low 80s with mixing sun and clouds on your Saturday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine and 77 degrees downtown. Coming up on midday, the new congressional map proposals are now available for public comment. We'll hear from one of Utah's representatives on what people can expect from this process. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
The Social Security Administration just announced they are now projected to run out of money 1 year earlier than expected. Benefits could be cut by as much as 23%, and the average person could lose more than $100,000 in lifetime income. This news could significantly change when you file for Social Security. Discover how you could get every penny out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. This free, customized analysis could help you get every penny out of Social Security. Call 801-896-9622. That number again, 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacies, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap Good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. The deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not insurance.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. voice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
KSL News Time, 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a 22-year-old man was arrested after police say a downtown Salt Lake City protest turned violent back in June and may face robbery and assault charges. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, the Leonardo Museum is permanently closing its doors. They say they couldn't overcome the problems they were having with their aging infrastructure. Third, traffic and weather together. Len?
Well, we're still looking at that intersection that is just north of I-15 on 33rd South and 3rd West. Watch for traffic being directed by officers. Len Thomas, the KSL Traffic Center.
85 with sunny skies today, partly cloudy tomorrow, maybe some shower chances over the weekend. I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 77 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Authorities are searching for a motive following yesterday's deadly shooting attack at an ICE facility in Dallas. Security at immigration offices now stepped up.
Wednesday's shooting happened at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement office in a busy industrial and hospitality district.
It was weird when I heard that it was in Dallas.
Dallasite Joe Monroe.
And then to come to find out it's 3 doors down from where I'm working.
The sniper was on a rooftop about 500 feet from the immigration facility. Investigators say Joshua John was targeting ICE officers, but 1 migrant was killed and 2 were wounded. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
The new top prosecutor for the Eastern District of Virginia is expected to seek a grand jury indictment against former FBI Director James Comey, sources tell ABC News, for possibly lying to Congress 5 years ago. First-time applications for jobless claims dropping last week by 14,000 from the week before. In all, 1.9 million Americans are receiving unemployment benefits. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. The new congressional map proposals are now out and available for public comment. Representative Candace Perucci tells Inside Sources there are 6 maps on the table, 5 from the Republicans and 1 from the Democrats, and those will be the ones the public can comment on. No changes can be made if they want to make their deadline.
Based off the judge's order, we as a committee needed to make a map public, and the map had to sit publicly for public comment, but we could not go back and make any changes to those maps at the end of the public comment period. So in a normal legislative process, you get public feedback, you have the ability to go make tweaks. We cannot do that based off the court order because the map that we vote on in special session has to have been public for 10 days. So if you were to make a tweak, you'd have to go and do another 10 days. But because we're running up against an election deadline with our elections offices for the 2026 election cycle, that's not an option.
This is just the latest step in a race to meet all the court-ordered guidelines to this process.
We had public comment on Monday. We had public comment yesterday, even though the judge indicated we didn't have to take public comment in our committee meetings, just had to have the 10-day public comment online. So that's one of the frustrations with this process, with it being court-ordered, that it limits our ability to make any tweaks. But because we put out more than one map, it does give us the ability to see which map the public is gravitating towards.
Elizabeth Rasmussen from Better Boundaries, which was behind the lawsuit against the legislature, told Inside Sources a little more about how they check the maps for partisanship.
There are 8 standards that Proposition 4 sets forward, and they're around equal population, keeping communities together, keeping cities together, counties together. And so that is what is used to craft the map. And then after the fact, there is a process where you can test the map for fairness. And that's where you get some of the partisan, just some of the partisan checks to see if they don't unduly favor a party or politician.
You can now go online to find the map proposals and make your opinion known. The comment period will continue until the legislature holds a special session on October 6th to take a vote on which map will be presented to the court. The map proposals are available on our website at kslnewsradio.com. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Len Thomas.
Well, we're looking at this crash just north of I-15 on 33rd South. That is still gumming up things. Traffic lights are out in this busy intersection as you make your way through. Watch for police officers that are at the time directing you through that traffic accident that's going on right there. Also, a crash southbound State Street at 400 South on Salt Lake has a right lane closed, and you've got some emergency maintenance on US 89 at 1280 North Beck Street in North Salt Lake. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. How about some 80s today? Ample sunshine, 85 the forecast high. 82 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. We'll go for a mixture of sun and clouds on Saturday, 82 with a slight chance for something in the mountains. Mostly cloudy on Sunday, 30% chance, 78. And then scattered showers entering the forecast Monday and Tuesday. Highs in the mid-70s, a little bit breezy. 71, mostly cloudy by Wednesday afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 77 degrees downtown. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. And a quick check of the markets. The Dow right now down. Well, let's see, all three. S&P down, NASDAQ down. The NASDAQ, the biggest loser, down 126 points, or just over 0.5%. A complete update of your money news coming up next.
Hey, want to hear something great? Right now at Wendy's, you can get 2 of the #1 selling bacon cheeseburger in all fast food, the JBC, plus medium fries and a medium soft drink for just $8. Want to hear something else great? Double the burger means double the bacon. Now that's a game changer. 2 of the #1 bacon cheeseburgers with fries and a drink for just $8. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Request $8 JBC meal deal to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know, from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now, that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
KSL News Time 12:54. The U.S. Postal Service is going to put a pause on raising stamp prices, at least for now. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
There's a new Postmaster General in charge, and David Steiner says they want to provide affordable services. So the typical start of the year price hikes, they're not going to happen this January, and he hopes to hold off on any hikes until at least mid-2026. That means a first-class stamp, it stays at 78 cents. But the post office, it's still struggling, trying to figure out how to survive financially. Last year, they lost $9.5 billion. And this year, they've cut 10,000 jobs through a voluntary retirement program. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's Money, new research by the Latino Donor Collaborative shows Latino immigrants made up for $1.6 trillion of gross domestic product in 2023. CNBC reports that's an overall purchasing power of $4.1 trillion. That number also increased 50% since 2015. Starbucks is restructuring and plans to close underperforming locations across the country. CNBC reports the company is also planning to cut around 900 jobs and close any open positions. Major craft stores are going from foes to partners. Michaels will be opening Joann Knit and Sew shops inside their stores across the U.S. and Canada. It will feature the Joann name and the company's highly praised yarn. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 164 points, sitting at 45,956. S&P 500, it's down by about 0.5%, down 31 points. NASDAQ down 0.5%, down 112 points.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Len Thomas.
As you make your way across the freeways in Utah, and particularly the Wasatch Front Cities, everything's moving along fairly well from Provo all the way up to the Ogden area in either direction. You do have some slow traffic in American Fork as you're getting on Pioneer Crossing, getting on and off of there. Also have a little bit of construction going on. That is on the north end of Salt Lake, and that is US 89 north of Beck Street. Right lane is closed there. And the crash southbound State Street 400 South is looks like that's pretty much cleared up right now. But still watch out in the intersection of I-15, rather 33rd South and 3rd West, just north of I-15, as traffic officers are directing traffic through there. Utah Opera presents The Shining, based on Stephen King's thrilling novel. Jack Torrance's descent into madness comes to life on stage October 11th through the 19th. Tickets start at $26 at utahopera.org. Red Rum, that is. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's been years in the making, and the process hasn't been easy. Headaches for drivers, closed sidewalks for pedestrians, and several businesses not able to stay afloat. But now, 2100 South in Sugar House has reopened.
The fact that we got through this project with so many local 15 bars and restaurants and retailers still with doors open is a major win of preserving who we are here.
The time is 1 o'clock on Thursday, September 25th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the plan city leaders have to try and revitalize the business and social scene, both of which have suffered over the past few years. Also this hour,
he started up Nerd HQ to help with mental health, and that's something that he struggled with personally.
a special mission at this year's FanX, helping everyone find mental health support. We'll get a live preview of the convention, which kicks off today. But first, our top stories. 2100 South in Sugar House is now clear and open now that a 2-year construction project has finally wrapped up. Sugar House coffee owner Emily Potts is one of the many local business owners who is grateful the work is now done.
I had no idea how terrifying it was really going to be. I had no idea there would be days when we'd have hours without customers coming in. Our driveways would be blocked off. It was so much harder than I ever imagined.
Potts says she's grateful to still be standing, given many businesses didn't survive the project. She and city leaders are hopeful people will not only come back to the area to help business, but also see all the infrastructure improvements for themselves. Our top national story from ABC News. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has invited hundreds of top military officials to a meeting in Virginia next week.
Exactly how many generals and admirals would be in attendance isn't clear. There are more than 400 general officers holding at least a 2-star rank. Officials confirm the Defense Secretary is expected to gather a large number of them at the Marine base at Quantico, Virginia next Tuesday. It's quite rare for there to be a large in-person meeting of military leaders based all over the world in a single location.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy. Amazon has been fined $2.5 billion to settle a case with the Federal Trade Commission. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more.
The FTC says Amazon tricked customers into signing up for Prime subscriptions and made it overly difficult for them to cancel those memberships. The company is now settling the case, which began earlier this week. They'll have to pay $2.5 billion in fines.
This is the largest FTC fine in history. The Utah Jazz will honor late head coach Frank Layden this season with a commemorative patch on their jerseys. Jazz fans will see it in action for the first time in a preseason game against Houston on October 8th. Layden was the team's first GM when it came to Salt Lake City in the late 70s, then coached the team through most of the 80s. He passed away this summer at the age of 93. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 173 points, more than 0.25%, sitting at 45,948. S&P down by 33, the NASDAQ off 117 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Len Thomas?
Well, we're looking at that 33rd South. It's still there. 33rd South and 3rd West traffic now is getting through. It looks like they got the lights working. There is still one officer in the middle of the intersection to watch out for. Otherwise, I-15 is moving along very nicely right now. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Bring the location nearest to you at goodfeet.com. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Headed for a high of 85 degrees today. Tomorrow, a slight chance of rain creeping into the forecast, about a 20% chance for the rest of the week. Tomorrow's high 82. Then on Sunday, we do have a 40% chance of showers and the temperatures dipping into the 70s. 79 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. If you've driven through the construction on 2100 South in Sugar House during the past couple of years, you've probably screamed a few bad words or crossed a little too close to the lines. Maybe even hit a few curbs or traffic cones as well. Now, I know for me, it's definitely tried my patience. Many people avoiding the road altogether, contributing to lower foot traffic that has since pushed several businesses in the area to close. Well, today, a celebration. Salt Lake City leaders and businesses, the ones that have survived, are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. The multi-year construction project is finally complete. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
Crews have been working for the last 2 years to completely redo 2100 South, which included replacing a bunch of old pipes and infrastructure, as well as making the area more accessible to businesses and public transit. I don't go through this area very much, and thankfully I didn't have to battle the nightmare traffic jams I kept hearing about. But as I visited a local business on 21st South with a friend a couple times recently, I could see not only a freshly paved and striped road, but also clear sidewalks and a bunch of businesses that look anxious to get people back in the door. I could see for myself how much better 21st South has become for people who just want to walk down this stretch, bar hop, or just explore what the area has to offer. Emily Potts is the owner of Sugar House Coffee just off of 21st South. For her, this has been a long road, no pun intended.
I remember my first construction meeting about 4 years ago when they laid out those blueprints, and I just sat there, wide eyes, going, how the heck are we ever going to survive this?
Her business did survive, but it was never easy.
I had no idea how terrifying it was really going to be. I had no idea there would be days when we'd have hours without customers coming in. Our driveways would be blocked off. It was so much harder than I ever imagined.
But today she says she's grateful the work is done.
To look at it now and to see how beautiful it is and how much safer it is. You see people biking around. The infrastructure needed to be fixed, and it got fixed, and it's beautiful.
Though Potts says she still feels sad for the many businesses that didn't survive this project. That's why she and city leaders are calling upon people to come back and not only help them, but see how much better the area is now that the construction is wrapped up.
This construction was hard, but it was needed, and it's safe, and it's beautiful, and I'm so grateful. So please come support all these small businesses. Look at how beautiful it is.
On October 4th, all local bars and restaurants in this area are actually going to have live music. That's just one of the plans to not only help bring people back to Sugar House businesses, but also get people to see all the improvements for themselves. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
And thank goodness my husband and I had to use our bikes to get around that big mess. Speaking of roads and cars, road rage has become a real problem on Utah's roads. We've talked about it several times here on KSL News Radio, speaking with leaders from the Utah Highway Patrol, Department of Public Safety, and UDOT. Well, now a judge has ruled that a motorcyclist who allegedly shot another man during a road rage incident was legally justified in using deadly force as it was in self-defense. The incident happened down in Cedar City last June. Court documents say that Robert Mabbitt punched Jason Brian Stolworthy through his visor, breaking skin and nearly knocking him off his motorcycle. Attorneys say Mabbitt swung at him again and started approaching him, and that's when prosecutors say Stolworthy pulled out a handgun and shot Mabbitt. Ultimately, the judge found Stolworthy was justified in using that level of force.
It's a little bit of an unusual case because the use of deadly force, the use of a firearm, when the other individual didn't have a firearm. And so we often think, well, how can you use a gun when the other person didn't have one? But the court said, based on what he had done to the motorcyclist previously, was serious enough that that motorcyclist was in fear for his life.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas explained the law.
Usually when you consider someone's use of deadly force, in this case use of a firearm, you have to establish that they perceived that the other person was going to use deadly force against them. In other words, if you're trying to just hit me with your fists, I'm not entitled to shoot you with a gun. And in this case, based on the prior conflict between the motorcyclist and the motorist, the judge did say that the motorcyclist was justified, that he objectively and subjectively had every reason to be fearful for his safety and was justified in using that level of force.
In situations like these, where do you draw the line between force and deadly force? Skorda says it can be hard to tell in the moment, especially when you feel legitimately threatened.
It's always difficult when you have someone coming at you and what level of force you're entitled to use, because we say in Utah, use force against force, but you can only use deadly force against deadly force. And in this case, the judge said, look, based on the prior confrontation between the two of them and the vulnerability of the motorcyclist sort of sitting there on the motorcycles and not being able to do much besides just sit there, that he was justified in using that level of deadly force, including the use of a firearm.
The man who was shot survived. Had he died, however, Skorda says it would not have made much difference when it comes to the law.
Under Utah law, once you use deadly force, the effect of that isn't necessarily important. By that I mean you shoot somebody with a gun, even if you miss, that's an aggravated assault. If you hit him, that's an aggravated assault. If you kill him, it's a murder. But it's still, your justification is still looked at under the same lens.
The judge dismissed 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanor charges against Stolworthy. Prosecutors are now considering their options, which could include an appeal. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Amanda, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA weight loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA weight loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
FBI Director Kash Patel says investigators have found out more information about the gunman who shot at an ICE facility in Dallas Wednesday, killing 1 person and injuring 2 others. Patel says they've conducted multiple searches and ballistic analysis, and they have found apps that track the presence of ICE agents. He says those are all parts of their investigation into the suspect, 29-year-old Joshua John. News Nation's Allie Bradley reports.
So the FBI Director Kash Patel actually saying that the FBI is working 24/7 to seize any devices, go through data, and also process writings that they found on the shooter and in his home and in his bedroom. And as you mentioned, they're saying that this was something that points to a high degree of a pre-attack, planned pre-attack there. Now, when it comes to heightened facility security, we're seeing that across the nation. DHS has called for every ICE facility to have some reinforcement, to have added security because of the shooting here that happened at the Dallas field office behind me just yesterday. So you mentioned that shooting happened by the hands of 29-year-old Joshua John. He's from Collin County, Texas, and authorities say John opened fire with a bolt-action rifle from a rooftop about 450 feet away from the Dallas ICE field office. Now, bullets did hit the ICE office and also an ICE transport van. Those bullets hit migrants being processed before they were being relocated for a longer detention. Now, the motive still hasn't been confirmed, but investigators recovered a bullet that had the inscription anti-ICE written on it. None of the ICE officers were hurt. The victims were all migrants. This marks the third violent incident at a Texas ICE facility since July. Now, on the Hill, our Blake Berman talked to Texas lawmakers on both sides of the aisle about this incident. Take a listen to what they had to say.
It's a punch in the gut because time and time again, we're seeing more and more of this violence, and ICE agents are just doing their job. They're not making policy, they're implementing policy. Whether you agree with it or not, they're not the ones that should be to blame.
One thing I want us to do is just take a breath, because we should take a measured approach. When we're talking about what happened, we don't know what happened. And so to try to place blame is premature.
So, Nicole, we know that law enforcement was also at a residence in Oklahoma that the gunman has ties to, so they'll be sifting through whatever they found at that location as well. Now, we can tell you what we know about this shooter is he did have criminal history. He actually was arrested back in 2014 for possession of drug paraphernalia and also marijuana distribution. Nicole.
Allie, what is the situation at that facility today? Do we know anything about the employees or about the detainees?
Yeah, so we do have that heightened level of security here. You can see the Federal Protective Service here behind me, but we also know that the facility is going to be closed until Monday. Now, those employees inside of this facility here were extremely lucky because we've seen where some of the bullets ended up landing, which were dangerously close to where people were working and where they were processing individuals. The Dallas field office riddled with bullets. One of those bullets actually hitting an American flag that was in a display case inside of that facility. Now, we also just heard from President Trump moments ago about this shooting incident. Take a listen to what he had to say in the finger pointing here.
The radical left is causing the problem. They're out of control. They're saying things, and they're really dumb people. I mean, I look at Crockett, I look at some of these people. They're very low IQ people, actually. But the radical left is causing this problem, not the right, the radical left.
Okay, so when it comes to assaults and attacks against agents and officers, we know that DHS is reporting a 1,000% increase, Nicole. But here's the deal. DHS is also saying that they've received 150,000 applicants for people who want to work at ICE. So, yeah, these violent incidents and these protests and these riots that we've been watching unfold are not deterring people from applying to do the job. DHS saying they've already handed out 18,000 job offers.
That is News Nation's Allie Bradley. DHS has increased security presence at ICE facilities nationwide following the attack. The investigation into the deadly shooting at an ICE facility in Dallas continues today. The finger-pointing already well underway. More coming up after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Len?
Well, when you look at a crash I-15 northbound about 33rd South on the right shoulder with a bit of slowing northbound here. And again, further north toward the 9th South exit. On a major surface street near here, traffic still being directed by an officer in the intersection at 3rd West and 33rd South. Otherwise, there's no problems for Utah County or right now, currently in Ogden. Traffic looks pretty good as you make your way this afternoon. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Common Spirit Health has expert orthopedic care that gets you back at it and back to your best. Find skilled orthopedic physicians at Common Spirit locations who specialize in general orthopedics and repair of hips, knees, shoulders, and hands, so you can return to running races or chasing the grandkids. Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Orthopedic care with human kindness is here. Visit mountain.commonspirit.org.
Get ready to join the climb, Jazz fans. It's time to place your season ticket deposits for the 2025-26 season. Place your deposit now and receive priority access to select your seats, exclusive gear, and more. Season tickets give you access to every home game, plus exclusive member-only discounts and benefits. Call or text 801-355-DUNK or go to utahjazz.com to lock in your deposit for next season.
J&J Garden Center is your fall headquarters. Now through November 1st, save 20% on perennials, shrubs, containerized trees, soils, fountains, and more. You'll also find clearance trees up to 50% off. Fall is the perfect time to plant pansies, mums, and fall bulbs. Don't forget pumpkins, gourds, strawbills, and corn stalks. Plus, explore our gift shop for cozy fall decor and seasonal finds. Hurry and visit us in Layton today, and let's get your garden fall ready. J&J Garden Center, where fall begins.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We're streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. Mental health experts are offering their support after an unthinkable tragedy occurred during a school field trip in Orem. Police say a 9th grade student died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound while on a field trip at South Fork Park in Provo Canyon. The district says there were students who witnessed what happened. Dr. Kim Jones is the Director of Student Support Services with the Alpine School District.
I know it's a very difficult situation, but our district is very well prepared to come in and support schools when something like this happens. We have a highly trained crisis team of responders at the district level and also at the school level, and we just get those communication pieces going very quickly. We meet together and address what are the needs in the community, what's the school-wide communication that needs to go out, and we have an excellent communication team at our district as well that helps us craft responses for news outlets as well as to our parents and teachers. And then we set up a temporary crisis center so that we have counseling available for our students and adults who need support.
Dr. Jones tells Inside Sources she wants students to feel safe when they're at school, and specially trained teams will be at each school to provide support.
We have team members that go to various trainings throughout the year at the state level and sometimes even national levels. And then we have what we call our own district crisis team that includes a crisis leader being identified at every single school. And they come in for 3 trainings every school year so that they can be up to date with all the different mental health concerns and safety concerns and having crisis plans ready to go at our schools. And then we just have drives on our computer with plans that we go through so that all schools can feel supported and just be able to go quickly in these types of crisis responses.
She is also encouraging parents to talk to students about grief and to have an open dialogue.
We basically want to encourage our parents to talk openly with their students about grief and be aware of their emotions, and anything that they can do to keep a close connection with their students is going to be really helpful right now. Sometimes our students just need parents to have space to talk, and the parent just listens and expresses statements of understanding and validation of their feelings. And we just want anyone in the community to know that really, even though these situations happen at times, school really is the safest place for our students. And we do have just extra adults and police presence today to help the community feel comforted in that fact. And just to be aware, again, of the great resources we have at every school. If they just reach out, we are here to help them on many different levels.
Dr. Kim Jones is the Director of Student Support Services with the Alpine School District. If you or someone you know is struggling and in a mental health crisis, there is help available. You can call or text the 988 Crisis Hotline anytime, free, and it is confidential. President Trump's new hand-picked U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia is ready to move ahead with bringing a case against former FBI Director James Comey. Over the weekend, the president demanded prosecution. Sources tell ABC News the new attorney, Lindsay Halligan, plans to move forward with the case, even though the last head of the office said that there wasn't enough evidence to bring charges against Comey. ABC's Catherine Falders describes the situation on the Start Here podcast with Brad Milkey.
Well, this all came to a head, as you mentioned, last week. Trump dismissed the previous prosecutor there, the head of the U.S. Attorney's Office, and now the person leading this investigation is his former defense attorney, Lindsay Halligan. So her first day on the job, Brad, was on Monday, 3 days ago. And what we're learning through our sources is that literally on the first day of her job, prosecutors in the office, people who now work for her, recommended that no charges be brought against James Comey, that they have investigated this. They found no probable cause. They didn't believe that charges here were warranted. So what we're learning is that it appears at this point that Halligan is going to, frankly, ignore that advice and go to a grand jury anyway and try and seek an indictment.
Wait, and just so I'm clear, what are they investigating Comey about in the first place? Because he has long denied any wrongdoing.
Well, it's a good question. So this all goes back to testimony that Comey gave to Congress in 2020. And the reason there's a rush on all of this is because there's also a statute of limitations on this. The statute expires on Tuesday. So the statute expires next week. So bear with me for a second, because at least what we're learning from our sources is that the alleged lie that Comey told to Congress, so again, 5 years ago, relates to testimony he gave in 2020 that he could not recall a September 2016 intelligence document that he had been sent, a document that Republicans claimed showed that the investigation of Russian election interference under Comey's leadership had been engineered by Hillary Clinton's campaign.
You don't remember getting that or being taught? That doesn't ring
bells with me.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty stunning thing. It didn't ring a bell, but...
So this goes way back. I mean, we were talking about this a long time ago.
So he's being asked about that stuff in front of Congress. He gives an answer like, I don't know what that document you're talking about. And they're saying, no, that was a straight up lie at the time. You perjured yourself.
Exactly. That's what they're saying. And they're also asking questions during that testimony about authorizing leaks to reporters.
So your testimony is you've never authorized anyone to leak. And Mr. McCabe, if he says contrary, is not telling the truth. Is that correct?
Again, I'm not going to characterize Andy's testimony, but mine is the same today.
This all kind of fits in to what they're looking at here and what they are trying to charge. But, Brad, what's really important to point out here is that the bar for an indictment or for a prosecutor to go and seek an indictment like this is really high. It requires DOJ prosecutors only to seek an indictment if they believe that they can obtain a conviction. And that's not what's happening here, according to prosecutors. Prosecutors who have warned Lindsay Halligan, the U.S. attorney, that they don't think the evidence is there. But she's going to try and do this anyway.
Falders says that if Halligan goes before a grand jury to try and get an indictment on Comey, she only needs to share what she believes will lead to that indictment. She doesn't need to share anything about her predecessor or others in the office saying that there isn't enough evidence.
I guess the question is this case solely being brought because President Trump almost made this a condition of hiring her? Hey, if I'm going to put you in this job, you're going to charge James Comey with a crime and try to get him locked up. I mean, is that what's happening here?
That's key, and you can definitely correlate those two things. I think that's really important, given that prosecutors have recommended against this. There doesn't appear to be many people at Main Justice, meaning the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, who are outwardly endorsing this. It comes specifically after Trump installed her there and made very clear that he wants her to act quickly on investigations related to his political opponents. So the very same week she comes in this new job, that's exactly what she's going to try and do.
ABC's Catherine Falders and host Brad Milkey on the Start Here podcast. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. You are not seeing things. Your favorite TV and movie characters are popping off the screen and onto the streets of Salt Lake City today. A sea of costumes, all for the annual FanX convention. The art of welding expanding its reach in Utah, and KSL traffic, Glenn.
Traffic moving well for the most part on the freeways along the Wasatch Front. Maria?
We're looking for a high today of 85 degrees. The chance of showers returning tomorrow. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute. It's 1:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franz, and authorities in Texas say yesterday's gunman who killed one detainee and wounded two others intended to target ICE officers.
The 29-year-old shooter acted alone, according to investigators, firing a bolt-action rifle he bought legally in August. Inside his apartment, handwritten notes were found, according to Acting U.S. Attorney Nancy Larson.
He wrote that he intended to maximize lethality against ICE personnel and to maximize property damage at the facility.
ICE says the injured detainees were shackled and could not leave the van on their own while it was under fire, but that ICE and ATF agents ran into the line of fire to rescue detainees who were in the van. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Israel is carrying out retaliatory strikes in Yemen today, targeting Houthi rebels, it says, after a drone hit southern Israel yesterday, injuring at least 20. President Trump expected to sign a TikTok deal to keep the China-based app from being banned in the U.S. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. The Orem community is reeling after a student reportedly died by suicide while on a field trip yesterday. There are grief counselors in the Alpine School District today ready to help. But Dr. Kim Jones, Director of Student Support Services, tells Inside Sources parents can really help in these situations.
Sometimes our students just need parents to have space to talk, and the parent just listens and expresses statements of understanding and validation of their feelings. And we just want anyone in the community to know that really, even though these situations happen at times, school really is the safest place for our students.
Support services are available for students and staff who may need the support. The Salt Lake City Council will take another look at the proposal that would crack down on after-hours drinking, but for now, the decision has been pushed back. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The proposal got some major attention, even prompting a petition that has more than 9,000 signatures. The proposal would ban drinking in non-residential spaces from the hours of 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. State law says alcohol sales are already cut off at 1 a.m., but this proposal would ban people renting out private businesses or venues from drinking alcohol purchased before that cutoff time.
City Council was supposed to vote on the ban next month, but has since confirmed to KSL they will delay the vote until they get more information. Other local stories KSL is following. The Leonardo Museum in Salt Lake City is closing its doors permanently. They posted on their website that this difficult decision follows years-long challenges with their 61-year-old building, including issues with escalators, elevators, and plumbing that they couldn't overcome. The cost of stamps will not be going up this January, but the Postal Service is still trying to figure out its finances. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
The price hike pause on stamps, it's great news if you still send letters or run a business that sends out a lot of mail. The new postmaster general, he says he opted not to raise prices in January because their goal is to provide affordable services. But the pause is likely temporary, with a first-class stamp right now costing 78 cents.
The post office lost $9.5 billion last year, and this year they have cut 10,000 jobs through a voluntary retirement program. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 174 points, sitting at 45,947. S&P down by 35. The NASDAQ down more than 0.5%, down 129 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Len Thomas.
Well, taking a look at the traffic flow right now, we're looking pretty good in Salt Lake County as you make your way across the Wasatch Front. Looks like a little bit of slowing at the south interchange as you head southbound from the south interchange to about 7200 south. Northbound, some slowing just before the Spaghetti Bowl or the I-80 201 interchange, and a little bit more as you head into the downtown area. Otherwise, I-80 looking good all the way up to Kimball Junction or out to the West Desert. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
High temperatures staying in the low to mid 80s through Saturday, with a 40% chance of showers returning on Sunday. 82 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Ticket packages for the Utah Mammoth 2025-26 season are available now. From full season and half season packages to mini plans and other flexible options, choose the ticket package that fits you best and be part of the action all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK to talk with a rep or visit nhl.com/Utah/tickets/season tickets to learn more.
Fall is my favorite time of year, and it turns out it's your plant's favorite time of the year, too. I'm back at Replenish Landscape Garden Products. Greg and Mike are here. Greg, it turns out your plants really like this time of year. It cools off, obviously, but they still need their nutrients.
They do, and it's a great time to put compost down, whether you're trying to get a few extra weeks out of your plants or if you're getting ready for next year. It's going to have a chance to work throughout the winter time and start breaking down the nutrients so they're available when you plant in the spring.
Mike, I'm thinking of two things. One is protecting those roots during the winter season. The other is feeding them this time of year is important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the most important things to do throughout the winter time is to protect those roots.
Get the best compost available right now at Replenish Landscape Garden Products. Buy it in bulk, buy it in bag, or have it delivered from 4660 South, 200 West in Murray. Call them at 801-262-5142 or find them online at replenishcompost.com. It's good stuff.
So, you want to be a hero. Here are some ways to get the job. Hunt down that killer shark. Or run into a burning house to save a kitten. Luckily, there's an easier way to become a hero. Call 911 if you see someone experiencing the symptoms of stroke, sudden weakness on one side, or trouble speaking, walking, or seeing. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. You'll be a real hero. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Tens of thousands of people descending on downtown Salt Lake City over the next several days for the popular and ever-growing FanX convention. The event kicks off this afternoon and it runs through Saturday. In fact, it's set to open in just a few minutes. Now, there are some new things at this year's event that you should know about, and to help us break it all down, we are joined by KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly, who is live at the Salt Palace Convention Center. Heather, kind of set the stage for us. Describe what you're seeing.
Well, I am seeing a huge amount of people flood into what's known as Celebrity Row, where all the celebrities sit and you can line up and get their autograph or just say hello. And let me tell you, there's always been this debate about whether it's Star Trek or Star Wars that's the bigger attraction. And right now it's Doctor Who, because the line, I swear, is like 2 miles long and they haven't even shown up yet.
Okay, so tell us some of the highlights. What are you looking forward to?
I am really looking forward to a lot of the panels. Sometimes people don't realize there are panels that are free to the public, and you can go in and see some of your favorite stars talk more about behind the scenes things that happened, or some of their struggles growing up, especially some of the child celebrities that maybe had struggles transitioning as a child into adulthood. There's also this evening, and for the next 3 nights, actually, one of the stars, Zachary Levi, he starred in Shazam and Chuck on the TV show Chuck. He founded an organization called Nerd HQ, and their goal is to raise money to provide free mental health care for anyone who needs it. So basically, Nerd HQ is taking over FanX every evening starting at 8 o'clock. And most of the events are free, but you do have to pre-register.
So tell me why they think that this is needed. I mean, this is brand new.
It is brand new. There are so many people who struggle with mental health. In fact, we've had some of those stories today in our news. But it's not just, regular Joes. It's celebrities. It's anybody. You can have some type of mental health struggle. And for Zachary Levi, he had his own struggles. And he is very passionate about making sure everyone has access to the care they need. We all talk about, you need care for a broken bone or a cut. And your brain, your mental health is just as important. And that's what he is stressing. And FanX has gotten on board with his message, and they really want to help promote that.
Talk to me for a minute about costumes. Are you already seeing folks all dressed up?
Well, I haven't ventured too far off Celebrity Row yet, but I do see several people dressed as stormtroopers. I've got a Harry Potter witch costume in front of me standing in one of the lines. And I did see, while I was waiting, I saw a guy who actually had like an R2-D2 remote control, and it looked really, I mean, it was almost like the original from the movies, and he had it on remote control. And he's just walking around with it, same size. It was really, really interesting.
Describe why costumes are a thing.
I think, for me personally, I think it allows you to be somebody else for a little while, especially maybe if you are struggling with mental health. It doesn't even have to be a huge mental health thing, but we all have those days where you're like, ugh, I don't want to go to my job. I'm just feeling down for whatever reason. And getting dressed up as somebody else and just being that other person and being in a world that fascinates you and makes you feel better, I think that's a big reason why people dress up.
Talk to me for a minute about the community. I mean, it seems to me that this gives people like this just a chance to come together and enjoy something that they're passionate about.
Oh, if you've ever felt like you didn't belong somewhere, and I think all of us have had that, you have red hair and everybody else doesn't, and you get teased about it, or you're short, or, you just don't fit in with what society considers the norm. This is the place for people to come because almost everybody here, I think, feels like they are not the norm. And it's a way to get together with your community. This is your community, no matter what it is you don't feel, quote unquote, normal about.
Okay, so it's getting underway right now. What are you going to be doing in the next little bit?
Well, I have interviews set up for John Rhys Davies, who was in the Indiana Jones movies and a whole ton of other things, Hobbit movies, all of that. And then tomorrow I am hosting a panel with Soleil Moon Frye, who played Punky Brewster.
Okay. Well, we're excited to hear your interviews and hear how everything's gone for you in these panel discussions.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Maria. And everybody come down. And if you can't, log on to, fanxsaltlake.com and, see if there's tickets left. I'm sure there are. And come down.
And take tracks, right?
Take tracks, totally.
Don't try to find parking. All right. That is KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly. She is at FanX. She'll be doing interviews and bringing us more stories from FanX. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Growing concerns over the falling levels of the Great Salt Lake are now taking the shape of economic troubles as well as health concerns. Tonight, the local nonprofit Grow the Flow will host a free community forum to discuss the lake. It will be virtual beginning at 6:30 tonight. Environmental economist at the University of Utah, Dr. Alberto Garcia will be one of those panelists, and he says that the costs of the dwindling lake could exceed $1 billion over the next 20 years. This would be the result of health problems, mass immigration, and the billions in economic impact that comes with the two. BYU ecologist and executive director of Grow the Flow, Dr. Ben Abbott, will also be there, and he says there is still time to restore the lake and avoid catastrophe. He says they have scientific knowledge, the values, and the resources to do it. Amid record lows, state of Utah is announcing further investments to restore the Great Salt Lake. Governor Cox announcing a $200 million investment. It's part of a larger ongoing effort by the state, as well as a host of other action groups looking to curtail dropping lake levels.
We have done so much over the past couple of years. I fear that too many people don't understand all the great things that have happened. The legislature, the private sector, the nonprofit sector working together to help preserve this lake. We've cut out thousands of acres of invasive water-sucking plants. We've launched hundreds of agriculture optimization projects to use water more wisely. We've installed thousands of secondary water meters so every drop can be accounted for. We've expanded voluntary water leasing for the lake. We've passed timely, precise, common-sense legislation that has already made the lake healthier. Over 200,000 acre-feet of water coming to the lake that were not coming before.
Governor Cox says even with the strides that we've seen in recent years, they are still committed to getting the lake back to full health.
We're not done. There is so much more that we have to do. We're really just getting started. Our commitment today is that we are doubling down and preserving this lake with additional investment. Today, with this charter that we have signed, we're asking all Utahns, families, farmers, business leaders, researchers, elected officials to stand shoulder to shoulder in their commitment to save and restore the lake. We appreciate the philanthropic community who has announced about $200 million of fundraising investments that they are committing towards the lake. And I just want to say that this is not a short-term fix. We didn't get here in a short amount of time. It's going to take us a while to get out of this, but we can do it working together. It's a multi-decade commitment to the lake.
The timeline for improvement has been set at about 8.5 years, landing completion in 2034. The timing isn't a coincidence. Governor Cox says he wants the lake to be healthy in time for Utah to receive the world for the 2034 Winter Olympic Games.
We know that we have a big event coming here to the state of Utah in 8.5 years, the 2034 Olympics, and we think that gives us a marker for all of us to work towards as we work to make sure that we have healthy lake levels when the world comes to Utah in 2034 so that the world can see our pioneering spirit.
The $200 million, which is being donated by the Great Salt Lake Rising and Ducks Unlimited, will fund current and future projects focused on maintaining and increasing lake levels. The art and science of welding making a real impact on the world, and here in Utah, a growing influence. More on a news center that opened today, coming up next. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Len?
Well, Maria, we're looking at some slowing on northbound I-15 in the Salt Lake Valley from Murray, about 4,500 south up to about 33rd south. There was a car on the right shoulder there, but I don't see that there now. But there is a little bit of slowing still in the area, and a little bit more as you go past the I-80 intersection there toward the downtown area. And at the south intersection, you've got some south slowing into Midvale, about 7,200 south. Bad weather in parking lots. Love Go Pave Utah. Go Pave Utah loves snow. Don't wait for bad weather. Schedule your snow removal service with Go Pave Utah. Visit gopavutah.com. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
This week's movie show is brought to you by Sound Sleep Medical. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday morning from 10 to 1. Sound Sleep Medical with 7 locations in Utah.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City where they've been building precision windows since 1986. And you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Hey, want to hear something great? Right now at Wendy's, you can get 2 of the #1 selling bacon cheeseburger in all fast food, the JBC, plus medium fries and a medium soft drink for just $8. Want to hear something else great? Double the burger means double the bacon. Now that's a game changer. 2 of the #1 bacon cheeseburgers with fries and a drink for just $8. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Request $8 JBC meal deal to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
Affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
The United States is facing a mental health crisis, but there is hope. At Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, they're transforming how mental health is treated and researched, bringing compassion, innovation, and access to those who need it most. Your donation helps fund life-saving care and cutting-edge research that leads to better treatment for everyone. It's already making a difference. Huntsman Mental Health Foundation has built Utah's first ever mental health crisis care center, open 24/7 to anyone, regardless of ability to pay. They've also recently launched a youth crisis care program at Huntsman Mental Health Institute, giving kids and teens immediate support. And Huntsman Mental Health Foundation is expanding services like therapy, medication management, geriatric care, and treatment-resistant support. Join us. Be part of the change. Donate today at hmhf.org. That's hmhf.org.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Hands-on technical training has been growing in popularity over the past few years across the country, and Utah isn't immune. We are seeing a boon of growth in things like welding. Well, today, more growth. This morning, Stadler North America opened a 50,000 square foot aluminum welding facility in Salt Lake City. CEO Martin Ritter says it's a major milestone both in the field of welding but also in the building of commuter trains.
On one hand, it's the first time we build an aluminum car shell in the United States. It's a very big milestone for Stadler and I think for Utah. It's a very particular skill set that's needed. We did hire welders and we sent them to Europe to get them trained specifically on welding aluminum and that sort of aluminum, those extrusions we're welding. And we do have a few welders from Europe with us here, so it's kind of an international team right now building those trains here and training the local workforce. Usually in Europe it takes 4 years to get that certificate to be able to weld our car shells. So we're working on establishing that apprenticeship program as well to get actually welders to that level systematically from high school into a welding career.
Yeah, describe the importance of doing that, the importance of these types of apprenticeships.
Well, I'm a big fan of the youth apprenticeship programs anyway, beyond welding. But I think when you take the aluminum welding, I mean, it's hard enough to learn to become a good steel welder. And then there's different steels. And I feel like aluminum is kind of the top league, so to speak, where you play at or in, because it is specific, it's hard, it's lower temperature, it's just more complicated to be able to weld aluminum reliably and sustainably. And so that's something you usually don't just get trained on in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. It's something that ideally it's part of a fundamental education system, whereas we really have the opportunity to develop high-skilled welders, aluminum welders, which we do already with electricians and with mechanics as well. We have a 3-year youth apprenticeship program in both of those areas as well, and we're going to add welding on top of that.
Yeah. Describe for me your operations here for those who may not be aware of your expansion into Utah.
Yeah, so Stadler did break ground in Utah in 2017 with our first assembly hall. So we started operations in early 2017, and we have, when this expansion is concluded, we'll have over 500,000 square feet of production capacity here in Salt Lake. We're currently about 660 employees, and we're planning on going up to 850 within the next 1.5 years, and somewhat in the 1,000 employees within the next 2 to 3 years. We're building trains, like passenger trains, from track-like LRVs up to high-speed trains. Most of our trains are aluminum built because they're light and they're efficient, and there's some specific values of aluminum in terms of crash energy management as well. So they're safe, very safe compared to the old trains. We're assembling trains here. We're now welding trains here. We have a large testing environment. We do have our own test track, whereas we test all the trains before they get delivered. And we have a large material and warehousing. I mean, the supply chain is a big deal for us as well. And we do have our own engineering and technical team here on site as well. So it's a fairly diverse and large operation.
Yeah. What is the demand for trains? I'm assuming with commuter trains growing that you have quite a demand.
Society in the U.S. is picking up on the advantages of having a solid transit system, a public transit system. And we see this specifically in Utah as well, which the south corridor is kind of restricted in terms of its capacity for cars, and a solid and efficient and reliable transit system is going to be the solution as part of moving people along the Wasatch Front. And what we see in Utah, a growing support for commuter rail, but also for the urban rail or even the intercity rail. I mean, there's some conversations with Boise and with Vegas to try to connect basically the cities through Salt Lake City. I think that's not only happening in Utah, that's happening across the nation. Cities and communities are looking into adding transit and trains to their overall mobility solution. And so I think the demand is bigger than ever, and I do believe the demand will even be bigger down the road. And I think one day it's going to happen that we can put a mountain bike on a train and head down to Moab and mountain bike a weekend and come back and do some emails on the way down or way up. So
I'd look forward to that.
That's the vision.
Martin Ritter is the CEO of Stadler North America. The milestone is an exciting marriage of Swiss design and American quality. We are awaiting news on the executive order that will sell the U.S. portion of TikTok to American investors. More on that in the next hour of Midday.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The public comment period for the new congressional maps here in Utah now open, but a tight deadline making it difficult for lawmakers to take public comment into consideration.
Based off the judge's order, we as a committee needed to make a map public, and the map had to sit publicly for public comment, but we could not go back and make any changes to those maps at the end of the public comment period.
The time is 2 o'clock on Thursday, September 25th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the maps redrawn. We have continued coverage of the redistricting map process as it moves closer to the court-imposed deadline. Also this hour...
Well, this is all caused by the Democrats. They asked us to do something that's totally unreasonable.
President Trump casting blame on the other side of the aisle ahead of a possible government shutdown next week. But first, our top stories. What started as a Salt Lake City ICE protest ended in violence, and now a man faces robbery and assault charges. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has more.
Police arrest documents say video shows 22-year-old Lander Gomez pulling an American flag from a man and stomping on it, while others punched and chased two people during the ICE Out protest back in June. One woman told police she was hit with a skateboard after someone yelled she didn't belong there because she was white. Officers say the two had cuts and bruises, and about 20 people were part of the fight.
Gomez was booked into the Salt Lake County Jail on robbery, assault, and riot charges. Our top national story from ABC News. We are learning new details about the shooting at an ICE building in Dallas on Wednesday. One detainee was killed. Two others were seriously injured when a gunman opened fire as they were being brought in after being arrested. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
The 29-year-old shooter acted alone, according to investigators, firing a bolt-action rifle he bought legally in August. Inside his apartment, handwritten notes were found, according to Acting U.S. Attorney Nancy Larson.
He wrote that he intended to maximize lethality against ICE personnel and to maximize property damage at the facility.
ICE says the injured detainees were shackled and could not leave the van on their own while it was under fire, but that ICE and ATF agents ran into the line of fire to rescue detainees who were in the van. Alex Stone, ABC News.
There's word that Secretary Pete Hegseth is planning a sizable gathering of top military leaders next week.
Exactly how many generals and admirals would be in attendance isn't clear. There are more than 400 general officers holding at least a two-star rank. Officials confirm the defense secretary is expected to gather a large number of them at the Marine base at Quantico, Virginia next Tuesday. It's quite rare for there to be a large in-person meeting of military leaders based all over the world in a single location.
ABC Stephen Portnoy reporting. Other national stories KSL is following. Congress has just a few days left to agree to a budget and avoid a government shutdown. Democrats say they will not approve a bill that doesn't secure health care funding. Here's House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Because of the Republican refusal to address the Affordable Care Act tax credit issue, at least 20 million Americans are about to experience dramatic increases in their health care premiums, copays, and deductibles.
President Trump canceled a scheduled meeting with Democratic lawmakers this week. The government would shut down on October 1st unless something is passed. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the markets have been in negative territory most of the day and ending down. The Dow down 174 points at the close to end at 45,947. S&P down by 33 points and the Nasdaq off by 0.5%, down 113 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Len Thomas.
Well, Maria. Excuse me, Maria. We have a crash on I-15 southbound at the South Interchange. You've got a left shoulder block. That's in the curve there. It's kind of hard to see when you're coming down there, so just stay to the right when you go down there. Otherwise, another crash has been sitting there on northbound I-15 at about 33rd South on the right shoulder. You have a little bit of slowing in both of these areas. Otherwise, watch out for a little bit of a crash up there in Weber. It is SR 60 eastbound at 101. It's eastbound South Weber at about, it's 101 east South Weber at SR 60. There are 3 lanes closed there. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking at the 7-day forecast for the Wasatch Front, the temperature creeping slowly down over the next 7 days. A high today of 85, but down to 71 degrees next Wednesday. And our next best chance of showers comes on Sunday. We have a 40% chance. 82 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
Plan your escape to the Overlook Hotel. Enjoy crisp mountain air, breathtaking views, and peace and quiet. Maybe too quiet? Based on Stephen King's thrilling novel, The Shining, Jack Torrance's descent into madness at the Overlook Hotel comes to life on stage, just in time for Halloween, October 11th to 19th at the Haunted Capitol Theater. Tickets start at $26 at utahopera.org/redrum.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Utahns got a chance to look at 5 legislatively proposed maps this week, one of which could become the next map outlining Utah's congressional districts. The maps redrawn. We have special coverage of the new congressional maps. The public comment period is now open, but Representative Candice Perucci says the tight deadline may make getting those comments a challenge.
Based off the judge's order, we as a committee needed to make a map public, and the map had to sit publicly for public comment, but we could not go back and make any changes to those maps at the end of the public comment period. So in a normal legislative process, you get public feedback, you have the ability to go make tweaks. We cannot do that based off the court order because the map that we vote on in special session has to have been public for 10 days. So if you were to make a tweak, you'd have to go and do another 10 days. But because we're running up against an election deadline with our elections offices for the 2026 election cycle, that's not an option.
Purgy says although they cannot directly include changes requested by the public, they are still trying to make sure they include public opinion.
That is the frustrating part of this court-ordered process. So I hear you on the frustration. That is why we had public comment on Monday. We had public comment yesterday, even though the judge indicated we didn't have to take public comment in our committee meetings, just had to have the 10-day public comment online. So that's one of the frustrations with this process, with it being court-ordered, that it limits our ability to make any tweaks. But because we put out more than one map, it does give us the ability to see which map the public is gravitating towards.
A strong focus on making the maps fair, also a factor that's eating up time. Better Boundaries Executive Director Elizabeth Rasmussen spoke to Inside Sources today, explaining how they find balance in the map-making process.
There are 8 standards that Proposition 4 sets forward, and they're around equal population, keeping communities together, keeping cities together, counties together. And so that is what is used to craft the map. And then after the fact, there is a process where you can test the map for fairness, and that's where you get some of the partisan, just some of the partisan checks to see if they don't unduly favor a party or politician.
Residents have also been encouraged to submit maps, but because of the nonpartisan tests required under Proposition 4, those probably won't be looked at either.
Yes, and if I was a little confused by that as well, but if I'm understanding correctly, there are these maps that are submitted by citizens, and one of the requirements under Proposition 4 is you can't use partisan data when crafting a map. And so they can't verify whether or not the citizen maps that have been submitted use partisan data, and so it's very unlikely they'll be considered because of that technicality.
If you would like to see the maps yourself, Representative Purchie says there are lots of places to find them.
Yeah, so they can go to redistricting.utah.gov. You can go to le.utah.gov and go to the redistricting committees page, and all of the important links and maps can be viewed there. All of the documentation and data that was used is public and can be viewed there. So definitely going to that committee page, you'll be able to find a treasure trove of materials as you review this.
Redistricting has been a hot topic in Utah, and as the deadline for an approved map draws nearer, it only gets hotter. President Trump will sign an executive order today clearing the sale of Chinese-owned social media platform TikTok to American investors. It comes after Congress unanimously approved a divestment of the company over security concerns. According to the new agreement, the family that oversees the Fox Corporation, Michael Dell, and the Ellison family are said to be involved. More from ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
TikTok's U.S. operations will now be run by this new joint venture, with American users' data stored in the U.S. and overseen by the cloud computing firm Oracle. And perhaps most importantly, this new ownership group will get a copy of the algorithm, that secret sauce that makes TikTok so addictive. Trump says other American investors, including Michael Dell of Dell Technologies and the Murdoch family, will also play a role.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt spoke about the order earlier this morning, offering some additional details.
Under the terms of this deal, TikTok will be owned by a majority of American investors and controlled by a board of directors with extensive national security and cybersecurity credentials.
She says under the terms in the sale, the board of directors will have extensive security and cybersecurity credentials.
Americans' data will be stored securely in the United States without access from China. All U.S. user data will be stored on servers operated by Oracle in the United States.
The deal would still need to be approved by China and wouldn't take effect until 2026. Typhoons have rocked East Asia this week, leaving trails of destruction over much of the continent. ABC's Britt Clennett told Brad Milkey on the Start Here podcast just how bad things look from Hong Kong.
Well, there is relative calm here as we kind of monitor the damage, but, it did bring this finance hub with one of the world's busiest airports to a grinding halt. I mean, hundreds of flights were cancelled. The airport is resuming operations, but, it's going to take a while because there's such a huge backlog. We're talking schools shut, businesses shut. I mean, we ventured out to film, and we couldn't believe it. Just looked, kind of like COVID times. No one on the street.
We're really feeling the intensity of Regasa right now. Intense winds and heavy rain pounding the coastal areas.
Completely empty. And for a city of 7.5 million people, one of the most densely populated cities in the world, it's quite a shock to see this city being brought to such a standstill. And I think that's why authorities were so concerned with this storm, because it is a coastal city and it is home to so many people.
Well, and before it even got to Hong Kong, it had already left a couple dozen people dead. Why did this become so deadly in some of these other areas?
Well, I think at that point, it was the equivalent of a Cat 5 hurricane. It did gradually weaken slightly as it came here, still, the most powerful storm on Earth, but particularly when it was north of the Philippines, it was very strong. And it tore through these tiny islands, small communities in northern Philippines, which were very vulnerable. They just don't have the infrastructure in place like Hong Kong. And so what we tend to see with these typhoons is that they do go through that area of the Philippines first, generally, and they do cause immense destruction there. And then in Taiwan, it burst the banks of a lake, trapping scores of people there. And there were deaths in Taiwan, too, as a result of that.
That is ABC's Britt Clennett reporting from Hong Kong. Here in the United States, typhoons are commonly called hurricanes. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
J&J Garden Center is your fall headquarters. Now through November 1st, save 20% on perennials, shrubs, containerized trees, soils, fountains, and more. You'll also find clearance trees up to 50% off. Fall is the perfect time to plant pansies, mums, and fall bulbs. Don't forget pumpkins, gourds, strawbills, and corn stalks. Plus, explore our gift shop for cozy fall decor and seasonal finds. Hurry and visit us in Layton today, and let's get your garden fall ready. J&J Garden Center, where fall begins.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Utah EMS workers now getting the chance to find out what happened to the patients that they brought to the hospital. Most of the time, when EMS workers drop off a patient at the hospital, that's the last time they see or hear of them. Now, that can leave a lot of them wondering what happened to that person. Now, a new tool is coming to Common Spirit hospitals, helping medical providers communicate with each other. Joining me to talk more about this is Dan Biorgi, Unified Fire Training Specialist. Dan, thanks so much for being with me. Tell us more about this program.
Well, what the program is, so throughout history, we've been able to drop patients off at the hospital, and then we haven't been able to know what happens to them. With HDE, that becomes automated because right now I spend a lot of hours requesting these follow-ups or these outcomes from the hospital. And with HDE, it's automated. So if I'm a paramedic and I take a patient into the hospital, that patient, everything that happens to that patient from that encounter comes to my patient tracker in ESO. And then I'm able to see all the tests and the film and everything that happened to that patient and also their diagnosis. And that, as a paramedic, that helps me because I get a snippet of what's happening at the time for that patient, but the follow-up or the outcome gives me more complete picture with all the tests and everything that the hospitals can do. Therefore, I get a bigger picture of the little snippet that I saw, so that the next time I have somebody with that, I better understand what might or might not be going on with that patient, and I can pick up some of those clues to give the hospital.
Right. This has to mean a lot to you, personally, not just professionally as
Yeah.
well. Just finding out what happens to these folks.
Right. That's always been the case too, because we're caring for these people in some of the worst times of their life, and be able to spend, from 15 to 20 to 40 minutes with them till they get to the hospital and drop them off at the hospital. I mean, we're injecting them at their home, at their business, on the street. These are personal spaces, and they welcome us in to help them, and then when we drop them off, that sometimes is the end. And it's so nice to be able to see what happened, that maybe a few things that I was able to do was able to stabilize them and have a better outcome and leave the hospital. And that's always nice to see that way too.
Yeah, so you're not only learning more, but it's just a more satisfying experience.
Yeah, it's totally more satisfying, because there's been so many patients throughout the decades that, I had no idea what happened, but you kind of carry that with you, wondering, and we're the best at beating ourselves up. Did I do everything? Did I catch everything? Especially for serious patients. And it's nice if we can find out that they left the hospital, or what we thought was correct, and I treated them appropriately. So all of that stuff's really important to us, because that's why we got into this job, is to help people, and to know that what we do has a positive outcome in their life is so beneficial for us and for them and their families.
Dan, how does this program still protect private information of patients?
So the only information we see, so we collect the information about the patient, and then we give that to the hospital. The hospital, and it's all protected with passwords, and has the highest level of protection on it, which is mandatory for it. And then they take that information and they add records to it with what happens to the patient at the hospital, and all of that is protected through passwords and all the highest protection in the internet world to protect that. So,
Dan, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for all that you guys do.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it also.
That is Dan Biorgi. He's Unified Fire Training Specialist. One high school now on probation for the way they recruited football players from other schools. More on that in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape plan.
Well, Maria, we have a crash. It's eastbound I-80 at Parley Summit, blocking the left lane and shoulder, and now actually two lanes, creating a very slow wave of traffic starting to go around this on the right side. Again, this is eastbound I-80 at Parley Summit. Also in the valley, a crash on I-15 southbound at the I-215 south interchange on the left shoulder in the curve there, and some northbound slowing in Murray. That is about the other direction from the south interchange up to about 4500 south. Common Spirit Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Way back in 1989, I started servicing hot tubs in Park City, and I learned the hard way in the freezing winter in the mountains that hot tubs are not built for Utah's harsh climate. I then found the Arctic Spa, the most northern manufacturer of hot tubs built specifically for the northern climates. Arctic Spas use perimeter insulation similar to your house where the outside walls are insulated. This allows us to utilize the excess heat from the motors to help heat the water and reduce your electric cost each month. Since then, we have sold 10,000 Arctic Spas here in Utah. We've learned that Arctic Spas last longer because they are built stronger. You can just feel the difference. Arctic Spas are easier to fix because we put access panels all the way around the spa, which makes it less expensive for you. Add this to the lower electric bills each month, and you end up with the least expensive hot tub to own over the long term. Arctic Spas, with stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George, or online at arcticspasutah.com. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
Ready to order?
Yes.
We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAINN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit rainn.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAINN and this station.
Breaking news on KSL News Radio. President Trump is in the Oval Office. He is signing several executive orders. One that he has just signed for Gold Star families. We are also expecting him to sign an executive order that details what's happening with TikTok. Let's listen in.
Ensuring that we can preserve TikTok as a platform for the 170 million Americans who use it, while ensuring that their data is properly protected as required by law. With this executive order, you will be effectively bringing into effect the agreement that will save TikTok and ensure that it can operate safely and securely.
So this is interesting because I had a very good talk with President Xi, a lot of respect for him. Hopefully he has a lot of respect for me too. And we talked about TikTok and other things, but we talked about TikTok and he gave us the go-ahead. You know, it's run by American investors and American companies. Great ones, great investors, the biggest. You don't get bigger, I don't imagine. And maybe I'll have JD. JD was very much involved and in charge of it. And maybe I'll have you say a few words about the deal. He would report back, and the points of the deal, I think, are great for our country. So JD, do you want to give it a little talk, please?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so thank you, sir, for your leadership and for your help. We really couldn't have done this without the president actually ushering this deal over the finish line. There was some resistance on the Chinese side, but the fundamental thing that we wanted to accomplish is that we wanted to keep TikTok operating, but we also wanted to make sure that we protected Americans' data privacy as required by law, both because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's a legal requirement of the law that was passed last year by Congress. So we
apparently we have lost our feed of President Trump. The president just signing an agreement that will allow TikTok to continue doing business in the U.S. while at the same time still protecting our data privacy. Were we able to get that feedback yet? Okay, let's go ahead.
Both because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's a legal requirement of the law that was passed last year by Congress. So we think that we were able to do that. Of course, we're
TikTok, I used it myself during the campaign, and it was very successful because you know how I did with the young voter. And Charlie helped me a lot too, and he said to me, you should go on TikTok. And it actually had, because we got record votes with the young voter, as you know, for the election. So I was a little bit prejudiced in that way toward TikTok. It was very good and very meaningful, but we have American investors taking it over, running it, highly sophisticated, including Larry Ellison. And Oracle, I guess, is going to play a very big role in terms of security, safety, and everything else. So we have very good controls. And literally, I would get a call from friends of mine who were fathers of young people saying, could you do me a favor? Could you get it approved, please? My son is driving me crazy. So we're getting it done, and they have a big audience, and we have great American investors. And here's your final copy. TikTok. Now, maybe if you want, we could take a couple of questions on TikTok, and then we're going to get onto something completely different, okay? Yeah.
Mr. President,
Jeff?
Mr. Vice President, you mentioned that China was resistant. Can you describe where China is now? Are they fully on board with this?
They're
or
on
is there
board,
anything more
yeah.
we should
I spoke with President Xi. We had a good talk. I told him what we were doing, and he said, go ahead with it.
On the algorithm, it's still being leased coming from China. Are you satisfied that there's no security concerns for the
Yeah,
US?
I am. I really am.
That it would push disruptive
The
content?
biggest reason is that it's owned by Americans. It's, and very sophisticated Americans and people that love the country and very smart Americans too. So they don't want anything like that to happen. Yes, please.
Thank you. Is there any operational relationship with Chinese entities or staff to execute the deal?
With who?
With the Chinese?
I don't think so. Not that I know. No, we're going to be. This is going to be American operated all the way, and great respect for President Xi, and I very much appreciate that he approved the deal, because to get it done properly, we really needed the support of China and the approval of China. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, now that Americans will have operational control, do you want to see the algorithm suggest more MAGA-related content prioritized?
I always like MAGA-related. If I could, I'd make it 100% MAGA-related. It's actually a good question, but I would, yeah, if I could make it 100% MAGA, I would, but it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately. No, everyone's going to be treated fairly. Every group, every philosophy, every policy will be treated very fairly. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you know the valuation? Do you know the American company is going to be valued in the billions?
Well, they valued it very highly. They're paying a big number. Do you want to talk, Scott? Do you want to say something about value?
Well, I'll let the Vice
Okay,
President,
good.
and then
JD?
I can follow
And
up.
you'll say something.
Sure. Well, first of all, I would say all credit goes to the Secretary of the Treasury. Couldn't have got it done without Scott. Also couldn't have got it done without Sean Cooksey on my team, so thanks to them. The company will be valued around $14 billion. We actually think this is a good deal for investors, but ultimately the investors are going to make the determination about what they want to invest in and what they think is a proper value. The most important thing is that it does protect Americans' data security. It ensures TikTok is still accessible. And on this question of the algorithm, which we've heard this a lot, what this deal ensures is that the American entity and the American investors will actually control the algorithm. We don't want this used as a propaganda tool by any foreign government. We want to make sure that our people and our investors actually make these decisions based on what's good for their business as opposed to what's good for another government's propaganda arm. So that's what we've done with this deal. I think it's very good for the American people. And as the President said, young people love this. We actually want everybody to access this, whether they're MAGA or not. We just want it to be fair. We want it to be fair to everybody, and we think that's what's going to happen with this new arrangement.
Well, the U.S. government...
And just to follow up on the Vice President, there were two pieces to the transaction. The Vice President's office has worked since the spring for the commercial transaction between the investor groups, and then Treasury and a group including the Vice President's office were in Madrid 2 weeks ago to negotiate with the Chinese, and it was a result of President Trump's close relationship with Party Chair Xi that we were able to get this across the line. We created a framework for Party Chair Xi to agree, and then on the leaders' call, Xi and President Trump discussed the final arrangement. So it was 1-2. And that was the final piece.
Will the U.S. government get any kind of annual payment as a result of this deal?
Taxes. It's going to make money, and we're going to get a lot of money in taxes. And you know, China wanted to see this go. This is a great legacy for China too. And, I thought President Xi was great in terms of his approval. We probably could have done it a different way, but it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been the same security at all, but I appreciated that he approved it.
So nothing aside from taxes, there's no part of the deal that is like a payment to the U.S. government?
Well, we're going to be announcing different things, but the U.S. comes out great. And I think China comes out great because they're going to have a very important legacy. And they have many other deals. You know, they have deals with us, and they have deals in here in this country. And, you know, they want to be treated fairly also.
So, Mr. President and Mr. Vice President, the U.S. company could change the algorithm to push different content? Is that?
The U.S. company will have control over how the algorithm pushes content to users, and that was a very important part of it. We thought it was necessary for the national security element of the law. We also just think it's important to protect American users. Again, we want users to use this platform the way they want to. We want the business to make decisions about content based on the interests of the business and based on the interests of the users, and that's what we think will happen with this new arrangement.
And they're paying a lot of money, and I think hopefully it's going to be a great deal. They're very sophisticated people. You'll see a list. Have you seen a list yet of the people? Well, you've been reading about it. It's. I know Michael Dell's involved, and Rupert Murdoch's involved, and a lot of. And let's see, we have probably 4 or 5 absolutely world-class investors that love the country, and they made a lot of money with the country, and. Many of them are in a somewhat related business, so it works out pretty well. And they're going to be very careful about all of these questions that you've been asking.
And you've been listening to a news conference out of the Oval Office. President Trump signing an agreement that will allow TikTok to continue doing business in the U.S. while protecting data privacy. Now, the agreement allows American investors to take control of that company, Larry Ellison and Oracle among them. Now, China must still approve the deal, but President Trump says that China is on board. He says the TikTok will be American-operated all the way, and the vice president adding here that the algorithms will be determined by Americans and not outside entities to make sure that we protect national security and we protect users from foreign actors. We do have a serious traffic situation to tell you about. Traffic and weather. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. What's happening, Len?
We got a rollover. It's eastbound I-80 at Parley's Summit, blocking 3 left lanes and a shoulder, creating a very slow traffic up there, and that is taking a little while to get around that. Maria?
All right, the forecast calls for a high today of 85, getting closer to that right now, down to 71 by next week, and a 40% chance of showers over the weekend. Right now, 82 degrees.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Authorities confirm that 29-year-old Joshua Yan is the man who carried out Wednesday's shooting at the ICE facility in Dallas, killing 1 detainee and wounding 2 others. They also say that ICE agents were the intended target. Nancy Larson is the acting U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Texas, and she says law enforcement responded quickly.
September 24th, 2025, when the Dallas ICE facility was riddled with gunfire, costing the life of 1 detainee and injuring 2 other detainees critically. Initially, I want to commend the cooperation of the Dallas Police Department, the Dallas County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, the ATF, ICE, and HSI for their swift and decisive response to this crime. Members of these agencies quickly secured the scene and the evidence and worked tirelessly to determine any continuing threat. Due to their efforts, it did not take long to ascertain the identity of the shooter, who was deceased by a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and that he very likely acted alone. His name is Joshua Yan, 29, of Fairview, Texas. Let me just review a very brief summary of the timeline of yesterday's attack. We believe at some point around 3 o'clock in the morning that the suspect was seen driving on footage with a large ladder on his car. And we believe that that is what he used to position himself on top of the building. The shooting itself started at approximately 6:30 a.m. After the shooting started, Dallas Police Department arrived en masse, secured the scene. Law enforcement officer, sniper, they found bullets on the rooftop, one of which was labeled with the words anti-ice. That morning, gunshots sprayed the length of the building, the windows, and law enforcement vans that were in the Sallyport area. Detainees were struck by these bullets. One was killed, 2 were wounded, and both of them are undergoing treatment. Shortly thereafter, the FBI began its meticulous work at the crime scene. At the same time, we obtained and executed multiple search warrants yesterday for devices and locations associated with the sniper.
Law enforcement says Yan fired from the roof of a building across from the facility and died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. No ICE agents were injured. Here locally, drivers, pedestrians, bikers, and local businesses all rejoicing today at the completion of the multi-year construction project on 2100 South in Sugar House. It's been a pain for many people over the past 2 years. Many people have avoided the area because of that construction, contributing to several businesses closing up shop. But finally, some relief. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
Crews have been working for the last 2 years to completely redo 2100 South, which included replacing a bunch of old pipes and infrastructure, as well as making the area more accessible to businesses and public transit. I don't go through this area very much, and thankfully I didn't have to battle the nightmare traffic jams I kept hearing about. But as I visited a local business on 21st South with a friend a couple times recently, I could see not only a freshly paved and striped road, but also clear sidewalks and a bunch of businesses that look anxious to get people back in the door. I could see for myself how much better 21st South has become for people who just want to walk down this stretch, bar hop, or just explore what the area has to offer. Emily Potts is the owner of Sugar House Coffee just off of 21st South. For her, this has been a long road, no pun intended.
I remember my first construction meeting about 4 years ago when they laid out those blueprints, and I just sat there, wide eyes, going, how the heck are we ever going to survive this?
Her business did survive, but it was never easy.
I had no idea how terrifying it was really going to be. I had no idea there would be days when we'd have hours without customers coming in. Our driveways would be blocked off. It was so much harder than I ever imagined.
But today she says she's grateful the work is done.
To look at it now and to see how beautiful it is and how much safer it is. You see people biking around. The infrastructure needed to be fixed, and it got fixed, and it's beautiful.
Though Potts says she still feels sad for the many businesses that didn't survive this project. That's why she and city leaders are calling upon people to come back and not only help them, but see how much better the area is now that the construction is wrapped up.
This construction was hard, but it was needed, and it's safe, and it's beautiful, and I'm so grateful. So please come support all these small businesses. Look at how beautiful it is.
On October 4th, all local bars and restaurants in this area are actually going to have live music. That's just one of the plans to not only help bring people back to Sugar House businesses, but also get people to see all the improvements for themselves. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Can you imagine how much quieter it is as well? I mean, construction for 2 years. A Catholic high school along the Wasatch Front now put on probation for the way that they recruited international students for their basketball program. Juan Diego High School was found to be putting what they call undue influence on student athletes enrolled at other schools. Undue influence can be things like texting, calling, or chatting with student athletes in an attempt to recruit them. Utah High School Activities Association Assistant Director Jeff Clough says the accusation comes with some serious punishments.
They admit to that undue influence. They admit to make some changes at the school, such as not allowing the coach to be at any level or program in admission decisions, making for athletes in their program to resolve them in preventative measures. Juan Diego also was given written directive to Coach Trost that he refer all questions to the athletic director for anyone who expresses any interest in the basketball program. All this proposal was speaking specifically to, while giving a tour of the school to parents and families, also should extend the communications with anyone who is not officially enrolled as a student at Juan Diego, so there is no appearance of undue influence. The sixth thing is that a self-imposed sanction of 4 games for Coach Trost to start the 25-26 basketball year. Number 7 is a $1,500 fine paid to the UHSA for lack of institutional control. And number 8, the panel imposes a 2-year institutional probation on Juan Diego.
Clough says, unfortunately, this kind of situation isn't too uncommon nowadays. He tells KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson that they expect to hold a number of hearings in a year that address undue influence in sporting programs.
This year, we've had 4 undue influence hearings. This was the 4th one. In other years, it's around the same number. It just seems like we've had quite a few to start off the school year. But we get a number of situations where schools or parents or other coaches report that somebody has created undue influence on another player from another school to get them to come to their school.
While these hearings are not uncommon, what is unusual is how long the hearings went on.
Juan Diego had some attorneys. Most hearings usually are 15 to 20 to 30 minutes in our office. This one was 2 full days. We were prepared to have another one today. And so, there's a little back and forth between our schools, but mostly once the schools know that they are guilty of a particular violation, they self-report. And then our hearing panel just stamps it and hears their side of the story and then decides what the penalty or sanction is going to be on them.
Clough says there's nothing that stops students from transferring on their own so long as non-school officials are offering encouragement. The rules around transfers, however, is that a student may not compete in varsity level sports for 50% of the upcoming season. Now, this is actually a loosening of the rule previous to July of 2024 that had a full 365-day hold on transfer players.
We try to trust in the greater good that it's involved in high school activities because it's an extension of the classroom. They're student athletes, and we're trying to believe that the coaches and the principals and the administrators and everybody's involved for the betterment of what's going on for the student athlete. And so that's one of the reasons why our transfer rule became a little bit relaxed, because we felt like those kids that felt like they needed to transfer schools or go somewhere else and they didn't want to sit out, or they didn't, that 365-day sit out for varsity competition, because you're immediately eligible in sub-varsity, but having to sit out for that whole year, a lot of our administrators felt like that it was a little bit severe, and so that's where we came up with the 50% number on our contest limitations.
Clough says although they do see many of these cases every year, he still assumes the best in high school level sports. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Less than a week left for Congress to pass a budget and avoid a government shutdown. But right now, things aren't looking too great. Jobs are also at risk long-term as the shutdown looms. The White House telling agencies to prepare large-scale firings of federal workers if the shutdown happens. Here's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio with more.
With a government shutdown looming, Democrats and Republicans are in a standoff.
Democrats have drawn a line in the sand.
The White House warning federal agencies that mass firings could be coming, quote, in the event Democrats decide to shut down the government. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer dismissing the threat, writing, quote, Donald Trump has been firing federal workers since day one, not to govern, but to scare. This is nothing new and has nothing to do with funding the government. Republicans control the House and Senate, but funding bills require 60 Senate votes to pass, meaning at least some Democrats will have to get on board. Democrats say they won't back a funding deal without health care concessions. They're pushing to reverse Medicaid cuts from July's One Big Beautiful Bill, and they want to extend expiring Obamacare tax credits. The spending package would cost an estimated $1.4 trillion over 10 years. Democrats stress it's an opening offer, not a final demand. They were set to meet with President Trump this week, but Trump canceled the meeting, calling their demands ridiculous.
The country has been lectured all year about how Republicans are in charge. If the government shuts down, it will shut down because Donald Trump and Republicans in the House and the Senate have made that decision.
Republicans say their stopgap bill would keep the lights on through November 20th. Democrats say without concessions on health care, even a short-term fix is a non-starter.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio reporting. You all love your kids' artwork, right? You hang it proudly on the side of the fridge. Well, would you pay to get your kids' artwork? The story of how one school in Australia is trying to raise money with what some people are calling emotional blackmail. That's coming up next. But first, it's KSL Traffic, and it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. You have a rollover to tell us about, Len.
Yes, we do, Maria. It's a eastbound I-80 at Parley Summit, blocking 2 left lanes and a shoulder. It was 3, and that's down to 2 after one of the large fire trucks has left. Traffic is slow there. Looks like they're getting some of these vehicles out of the way, but you still got a slow train of traffic getting around this as you make your way eastbound at I-80. Also, a crash I-15 southbound. That's at the south interchange of I-215 on the left shoulder in the curve there to slow you down. And watch for a little bit of maintenance if you're heading northbound on US 89. Maintenance. This is where Victory Road meets Beck Street, blocking your right lane as you head up toward Davis County. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Tim Hughes back again with Greg and Mike at Replenish Landscape Garden Products. We've been talking about the long, hot summer. If you're tired of those water bills, and Greg, maybe the plants just haven't done well in certain areas like the turf areas, now's a good time to be thinking about changing that out.
We have a variety of barks and wood mulches here that if you want to take out some of that sod and save on the water bill for the coming year, that's the way to go.
It's the colors and the textures and all the options you have, Mike, that are impressive to me.
Yeah, we have quite a few variety, 4 different colors and then natural barks as well that you could use.
Any design that's going to save you money down the road, beautify those areas for the next growing season, and give you a little peace of mind going into the winter months is happening right now at Replenish Landscape Garden Products. Come and pick it up yourself in bulk or buy it in bag or have it delivered. It's Replenish Landscape Garden Products, 4660 South, 200 West in Murray. Call them at 801-262-5142 or find them online at replenishcompost.com. Replenish. It's good stuff.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with the Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The Management Minute is service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. I spoke with the hiring manager who told me that 3 of the 10 resumes that he had in the top listed pile were almost identical. Same wording, same experiences, same interests, but different names. The candidates had used the same AI program to modify their resume to fit the job description. It was no surprise that the AI-based hiring program labeled them as one of the top candidates. But it got worse. Other candidates had almost identical answers in the phone interviews because AI told them what they thought the employer wanted to hear. Much as we would like the computer to tell us who to hire, successful managers will still need to use the basic interpersonal skills to make the right hiring decision. If you want to know more about how to make good hiring decisions, consider an MBA at Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We talk about the Apple iPhone a lot, but we can't forget about the wide range of Android phones. ABC's Mike Dubusky has a closer look at some of Samsung's smartphones in today's tech trends.
The FE in Samsung Galaxy S25 FE stands for Fan Edition, but Engadget's Chairlyn Lowe says it's actually meant to denote the middle of the range of Samsung smartphones.
And so the FE would be just below the base S25 in terms of pricing and specs.
The 6.7-inch screen gets up to 1900 nits of brightness.
So what you might be struggling with is a bit of difficulty reading it outdoors in direct sunlight, which has become slowly a thing of the past in, high-end phones.
And while the camera system is competitive, there are better options, she says.
I would argue that Google has consistently, delivered some better photography on its mobile smartphones.
Google's mid-range phone, the Pixel 9a, starts at just under $500. Samsung's FE is $650. With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
A kindergarten in Australia received some major backlash from parents after what they called emotional blackmail. More from ABC's Brad Milkey on the Start Here podcast.
I was not a good artist as a kid. Couldn't draw, couldn't paint. It's probably why I work in audio now. And yet despite this, my mom still keeps boxes full of my childhood pictures from school. The rendering of my father golfing with what appears to be a gray poo noodle, she would not give that up to the Smithsonian if they asked. No one ever cares about these classroom art pieces except a parent. Which is why parents in Australia were outraged recently when a school tried to charge them for access to their kids' doodles. On the outskirts of Brisbane, there's a small school called Craigsley Kindergarten. For a while now, the school's been under financial stress. Teachers have been told the school doesn't have enough money to pay their wages. Well, one day, parents received an email with a desperate, if entrepreneurial, offer.
That email essentially said that the committee had passed a resolution to try and fundraise by selling the children's artwork.
That's right. According to our colleagues at Australia's Channel 9, these parents were told, if you give us a donation, we'll give you a collated portfolio of your child's drawings. The price? 2,200 Australian dollars. That's $1,000 US. Now, the note did say parents who had a problem with this could email the school director, presumably to work out a discount, but the ask itself infuriated parents. After all, who else would want these scribbles or finger paintings or outlines of birds that look like the shape of your child's hand? One parent described it as emotional blackmail. Teachers said they were just as upset as the families.
My heart and soul's in the kindy, and what's happened recently not only affects the educators, but it affects the whole community.
How do we know what was in these portfolios, by the way? Well, one parent described going into school herself to retrieve them. There's apparently a police report since this was allegedly a break-in under the cover of darkness. But there's an even bigger legal question here. Who do your kids' drawings actually belong to? In some cases, including here in the U.S., schools have tried to claim that certain pieces created by their students are actually property of the school. This applies to patents at big research universities, that's common, but also, say, a photo taken by student volunteers for the yearbook. It's part of copyright law that says if the work is made for hire, it belongs to the entity who commissioned it, not the creator themselves. A decade ago, Prince George County School District in Virginia announced they were claiming copyright over all student work, including essays and artwork, before eventually backing down amid backlash. In Australia, parents say they are on very clear legal ground. There's a national law that explicitly makes a child's work the property of the family.
We sign consent forms at the start of the year that actually say that the portfolios belong to us and that parents have a right to manage their kids' sensitive information, including photos.
Well, yesterday, Craigsley Kindergarten gave in. A spokesperson said, quote, documents are now available for families to collect, free of charge.
A child's laughter may be priceless, but if you had to put a price on their art, it would be around 2,000 Australian dollars. That's what they were asking, and you looked it up for me.
$1,300 U.S.
Okay. You know, I am all about school fundraisers. I am happy to give the schools money, but $1,300?
Seems a little steep, but Australia, I mean, they eat kangaroo there. I'm just saying.
Okay. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference for me. Kangaroo.
Really? $2,000?
I couldn't do it. Yeah, that's what they were asking. Now, it was a fundraiser. I mean, I get it. And like I said, you know, schools all over the world need money and don't have as much funding as they need. But to pay for your kids' art, $1,300.
Around here, you would have bought the paper for them to do the art on and then have to pay a second time.
Have to get a second job for this. All right. Jeff Kaplan is here. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan, a bit toasty at 86 degrees. KSL's top story, September 30th is the point of no return. If Republicans and Democrats can't find common ground, the federal government